Welcome to Nimmin Live, the #1 place on the internet to learn about YouTube, network with other content creators, and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today I'm answering your YouTube questions. And if you are watching this after the live stream is over, I encourage you to make sure that you skip around the live stream a little bit because we talk about all kinds of different things related to YouTube during this live stream that will help you with your YouTube channel, will help you understand the intricacies and details of being a YouTube content creator and all the things that we struggle with in order to excel here on YouTube. So make sure that you skip around and you find the questions or the answers, I should say, that are right for what it is that you're looking for. And look, when we first start this stream, we have no idea, the direction that we're going to go in because all of the questions are answered based on or all the answers come from questions that people here that are hanging out in the live stream ask. So if you are watching this on the replay and you want to have your question answered, make sure you join us next Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern, right here on this channel, because we will be doing it there, or here, I should say, as well. So the very first thing that I want to say is I hope everybody's had an awesome week. Hope that you are, fired up for today's live stream. I hope that you are, ready with your notepads so that you can, take down some notes on some, things in case anybody asks a question that ends up sparking some type of inspiration or some type of idea for what it is that you're trying to do with your channel. Make sure that you have your notepad ready so that you are solid and prepared for that. I also want to let you know that this stream is brought to you by TubeBuddy, the #1 browser plugin for YouTube content creators, the #1 tool for YouTube content creators. TubeBuddy will help you optimize your videos for discovery. It'll help you test your thumbnails to make sure that the thumbnails that you are making are effective for the people that you're trying to reach. They have an SEO optimizer to help you optimize your videos for search once you do find the right keywords and things like that. Overall, they have 90 different tools that you can use on your YouTube channel that will help you with your YouTube channel. You can try TubeBuddy for free at tubebuddy.com/Nimmin, or of course, you can click on the link down in the description. That will take you straight to that as well. I also want to let you know that this stream is co-sponsored by StreamYard, which is the live streaming platform that I use to live stream this show every Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern. And the reason that I use StreamYard and the reason that I'm always, talking about StreamYard is because they do all the heavy lifting for me in the cloud. So I don't have to rely heavily on my computer. They allow me to add graphics like you see on the screen right now. If you're actually participating in the video version of this, they allow me to easily invite guests into the stream as well, and a bunch of other things that make StreamYard awesome and a very valuable tool for you if you are a live streamer to YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, or any other place that StreamYard supports. They even support custom RMTP as well. But you can try that at StreamYard.com, or of course, I've got links to that down in the description too, as well as a bunch of other things that you might find helpful as a YouTube content creator, just other resources and other, like some of my stuff that I offer as well. All that is down in the description below. So with all that out of the way, hope everybody is just rocking. Hope everybody's doing awesome. Hope that, you had a fantastic week. Hopefully you got a video published. Hopefully you watched my video. This is at the top of the chat right now. And you got some good information out of that as well. Pie in the Sky Taurus, what's up? Welcome to the stream today. J-Rock Gaming, what's up? Chubby Bots, nice to see you in here. Paul Peck Drywall Tube, my man. Hope that you are doing fantastic. Doug Houston in the house, as always. I hope that you are also doing fantastic. Insane McLean, what's up? Nice to see you. And Albie-tastic, what's up, man? Hope you're doing great. I got my water today. So instead of drinking coffee today, I'm actually experimenting with just drinking water for the whole stream. We're going to see how it goes. So I'm trying to stay hydrated, giving some love to the hydro homies out here as well as myself, because hydration is important. Okay. So with all of that out of the way, feeling a little bit charged today, a little bit excited today, a little bit off the rails today, so to speak. So this thing might kind of morph and bounce all over the place today. We're going to see how it goes. But the very first question that we're going to go ahead and just jump into is from Sook. Is the name of the YouTube channel. Sook, hope that you're hanging out here in the stream right now. Sook says that they have an animation channel and the goal of the channel is to hit 50 subscribers. The question is, what animations do people like? This is a fantastic question. So the easy answer to this one is they like stuff that, makes them feel something in some way. That thing that they could feel could just be like, hey, I'm entertained. I'm satisfied by this. It could be something that inspires people. It could be something that makes people laugh. But the idea when you're putting your animations together, it's not necessarily just about, the animation itself. It's about what's behind your animation. For example, you need to make sure when you're putting your animations together that you're thinking like, hey, the people that I'm making this for, what exactly are they getting out of this? Is it some type of informational thing? Are they going to be motivated after they're done? Are they just going to get a good laugh and move on? Like, what is it exactly that I'm bringing to them? And just remember that, as you're putting your animations together, if you are uploading them to YouTube, the reason that you're uploading them to YouTube is so that people can, come in and enjoy that content as well. So because of that, you got to make sure that you are making it for them. Now, a little quick tip for you is if you are doing animations and if you are flexible, topically flexible, then in that situation, you might want to consider using Google Trends and looking for trending topics, like things that are very popular right now or things that are getting ready to be popular or breakout things. So for example, if a big movie's coming out or something like that, making some type of animation in regards to that can, kind of help pull people into what it is that you're doing because it's already based around something that they are already interested in. So, using trends is definitely something that that can be advantageous for those sorts of things. Now, let's see here. I had a couple super chats come in. I want to go ahead and get these taken care of. So the very first one here is from Jay-Z Helps. What's up, my man? I hope that you're doing fantastic. Says this for D's in-flight beverage. Back to Thailand. Yeah, I think it's still going to be a while for him. I think he's still got, a few months before he will be able to come back in, but I know he's looking forward to that. The next one came in from Create with Dre. Says, let's get it, Nick. Happy Saturday, everybody. Regardless of what stage you're in your channel's growth, stay encouraged and just keep creating. And with that, man, since Dre, mentioned that and specifically stay encouraged and keep creating. One thing that I do want to just go ahead and, since that conversation just opened up, one thing that I do want to just remind everybody here, if you are just getting started on YouTube, or maybe you've been started for a while and you haven't really gotten that traction yet, I just want you to stick in there. And the reason I want you to stick in there is, like in my case, for example, right? It took me 5 months to get my first 150 subscribers on this channel. And then from there, I ended up jumping from this channel and then working on another channel for like 9 months, pretty much abandoning this one and then coming back to this one and then focusing back on this one. So your journey can kind of go all over the place. But when you stay focused on something and you keep at it and you keep trying to learn and improve and, develop the skills that you need in order to make it all happen, then, there's this period of time to where everything's like really hard and really difficult. And then things kind of come together and you're like, okay, now I can effectively make thumbnails. Now I can keep people watching my videos for a competitive amount of time. Now I can keep people, clicking on my titles and engaging in the community and stuff like that. So, hang in there because, sometimes it can take a little while to get going and you don't want to stop right before you're getting ready to, to hit that threshold of, of giving yourself, a real chance here on YouTube. So I just wanted to make sure that I, say that really quick. So the next question that we're going to move into here. Oh, and one more thing here. I've got one question here from Salad Cream Boy that came in before the stream. Says, hey, Nick, hope you're doing fantastic. I am, Salad Cream Boy. I hope that you are also doing fantastic. Says, I was wondering if you've had a chance to play around with vidIQ's new daily idea tool and your thoughts on it. I have, and I think it's cool. What they are essentially doing is, and you can see this by the recommendations that they give, is it looks like what they're doing is they're just basically figuring out other channels that are similar in niche to yours, and then they're just scraping titles. That's what it looks like. I've actually got some screenshots, to just kind of demonstrate that as well. But that's what it looks like what's going on. But I think it's cool because, in that case, when they do have something like that, even though, if it is, just scraping the titles of people that you compete with, it's something that can help lead you into inspiration. So anything that can help you lead you into inspiration, in my opinion, is a win. So if it's like a topic thing, then that's good. And it saves you from having to actually go and look at those channels, because typically that is part of the research process when you're getting ready to put, a video out, is going and looking, hey, what's kind of trending in my space right now? Is there anything that people are talking about that they're kind of leaving holes in and not really, fully fulfilling the information, things like that. So, just kind of speeds up that process a little bit. So really good question there, though. Let's see your next question that we have here. I'm going to pull this one from the form. And just in case you're just joining us, what we're doing is I'm answering YouTube questions. So the whole purpose of this live stream today is that we basically hang out here and we answer questions. We answer your YouTube questions. So there's a form down in the description of this live stream right now where you can get your questions in there. We don't have a lot of questions in there. We got like 10 questions in there right now. So if you have your question, there's a really good chance that you'll get it answered here on the show if you get it in there right now. Just as a heads up, though, for people like as they're coming into the stream, because right now, there's still people asleep that are going to be coming in the stream later, so they don't have a chance to get into the forum. So later in the stream, we'll also be, jumping into the comment section as well. So just in case we don't have the, chance for those people to get their question in the forum, when I do start pulling them out of the comment section, then that will give you, if you put it in the forum or not, a chance to possibly get your question answered here during the stream as well. So the next question that we have here, this one's from the forum, is from Intergatrix. Intergatrix says they do hardcore gaming. The goal of the channel is to make the hardest things in games as simple as possible. That's really cool. And the question is, since we already know how to keep viewers engaged at the start of our videos, what do you think are the best ways to keep viewers engaged and engaged for the rest of the video? So one of the ways to do that is through something called open loops. Open loops is used in like Hollywood. It's used in TV shows, things like that. And basically what it is you basically open up an idea here, suggesting that idea is either it's something, like its own story by itself, or it's something that suggests that that you're going to be closing that loop later in your video. So for example, since you watch my videos, one of the things that you might hear me say is like, let's say that I'm going through like a video of like, X amount of tips or something like that. Then in that case, maybe I'm on number like 2 or number 3. I might mention something kind of in passing, but then I'll say like, but we'll get into that right here in a second. Or, some reference to where it's like, hey, I'm going to build this up really quick. And then in terms of, highlight the importance of it. But since I have additional information that I need to fill in before we get there, I'm letting you know that it's coming. And I mention the things that I specifically think that you'll be interested in as a YouTube content creator. So that's the idea, right? Is you do those sorts of things over and over again throughout the video to keep people watching. In addition to that, there's also, just kind of tracking how people are responding to what you're doing as well. So what I mean by that is in YouTube, they give us our audience retention reports, which is something that we mention here all the time during the stream. And with the audience retention reports, it's a second by second graph that shows how people are responding to your content. So you'll notice like, hey, if I have, graphics on the screen for too long, people leave. Or if I'm on screen for too long, people leave. Or if I go too long without pauses, people leave. Or if I pause for too long, then people leave. If I have music come in at this part, then people leave. But basically you start to track those things over your content over time. And then you kind of cater your content to how people are responding to it. So of course you keep it true to you and all that stuff, but you cater some of the details to how people are responding to what it is that you're doing. So for example, one of the things that you might see is, and when we talk about this all the time, and this is a really big one for new content creators as well. And I know a lot of you are just getting, started under 1,000 subscribers. So one thing that's really popular for new content creators is that, they'll watch YouTube videos and they see all these big, like fancy logo intros, to where the person will be like, hey, today, we're talking about this, that, the other thing, and then blah, 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 and let's get into it. And then they have this whole sequence that happens. Their logo will flash on the screen. Maybe it dances around the screen a little bit, that kind of stuff. I used to do that too. But basically, one thing that you'll notice when you do that is in a lot of cases, most cases, I would say, that when people are experiencing your content, when those happen, a very first viewer, right? Like a brand new viewer, they might get through that part. But for people that are, continually watching your content, they've seen that 1,000 times. So in that case, some of those people will just skip right through it. So, so because of that, you just want to make sure that you're keeping out those sorts of things. Sophia, I hope that you are doing fantastic. Thanks for swinging by the stream today. I hope that you're doing well. So Sophia says, thanks, Nick. Let's see here. Thanks to Nick. I got 180,000 subscribers. Thank you so much, Nick. You are amazing. You are amazing. You're the one that actually put in the work for it. So thanks for the kind words. And I'm super happy that you decided to swing by the stream today. I hope that you're doing fantastic. Let's see here. So next up on our list, we are going to get into another question here directly out of the forum. And in the meantime, I'm going to take a sip of water.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
And really quick, before we do that, I just saw this comment come in, and I actually get this asked a lot in other places. That's why I want to just go ahead and take a quick moment to address this comment. So this question coming in case you're listening to the audio version of this, says, hey, Nick, I sometimes see YouTubers capitalizing a particular word in their title. Why is this? The reason that content creators do that is for emphasis. So what I mean is, if you're scanning over a title and you have one word that's in all caps, then in that case, you're pulling attention to that word. That word could be you. That word could be quickly. That word could be, amazing. Like that word can be, whatever it is that you think is important for the title that you're writing. But when you capitalize that one word, it's just so that if somebody sees your video on a homepage or recommended next to another video on YouTube, or if it shows up in search, then when those things happen, then that word that you're trying to get people to focus on either helps them know that it's related directly to them, or another thing based on the type of content that you make that needs to have attention brought to it, that will help them identify that this is something that, that they might be interested in. So that's the idea. So it's more about emphasis and bringing attention to the right things than it is anything. That's what that's for. So let's see here. Next up, we have Night Owl Pictures. Night Owl Pictures says they do comedy sketches. The goal of the channel is to become profitable and full-time. The question says, hey, it's me again. So my question is, my channel focuses on comedy sketches by using effects with After Effects, which takes me time to do, but also our schedules for everyone in my group is all over the place. Would it be wise also to include a visual podcast with the sketches, or should I make separate channels? The main issue is I'm trying to be more consistent with uploads. So including a podcast be wise to help us staying consistent, or separate channel for that. So if you typically make, let's say 10-minute content and your podcasts are typically an hour, then in that case, I would put the podcast somewhere else. But first, before I did, I would actually test them on your channel, see how people respond to them. And only do that if you're like, yeah, the topic that I talk about here, it's on topic in terms of the things that the people that are coming to my content are interested in, those sorts of things. But you want to make sure that you go through that checklist in terms of like, okay, the things that we talk about in the podcast and the way that we format this podcast, does this blend well with my content? If the answer is yes, then in that case, experiment with it and see how people respond. If the answer is like, no, this is definitely, way outside of what we normally do in terms of the flow, like everything, then in that case, you just go ahead and put it on another channel. But if it's, if there is crossover, then go ahead and then put it on the main one. Again, as long as it's something that topically, feeds into your niche. So let's see. So next up, we are going to go into the form again. And we have Dr. Poop Love. Sounds interesting there. Says they do gaming. It's The Last of Us multiplayer. And the goal of the channel says I want to create unique videos and spark discussions on the game that I love. And the question, hey, Nick, I just unlocked the community tab and I wanted to know if you had any tips about how to effectively utilize this tool to continue growing and building your community. So since they mentioned the community tab, one thing that I do want to just remind you of, just in case any of you did not see the news, is that if you have, basically YouTube is lowering the requirements for the community tab down to 500 subscribers. So that's going to be really awesome, for those of you that are, approaching 500 subscribers. So when you are taking like when you are approaching that 500 subscribers and the community tab is coming up, then, as soon as you get it, start using it. And here's what you want to think of when you start using your community tab. The very first one is that, hey, Sophia, if you could shoot me a message at askniman@gmail.com, or you have another email as well. I believe you have my VIP email. So shoot me an email through either one of those, because this is going to be way long gone by the time the stream is done. Let's see here. But when it comes to your community tab, a few different ways that you can use this, for those of you that are going to be getting it, relatively soon. One is you can use it to increase your monthly view counts. And what you are doing there is simply just sharing some of your content on a regular basis. And the reason that you do that is because, the people that are coming into your YouTube channel today, they might not have necessarily watched a bunch of your videos. They might have just watched that one video and not watched any more. They might have watched 10 of your videos and not the, 30 other videos that you have, or 130 other videos that you have. So because of that, when you are sharing your content in your community tab, you want to just use that as a way to continually bring awareness to a particular piece of content, or just continue to remind people like, hey, this people really enjoyed this video. They really enjoyed this video, so that you can make sure that you're sharing that with people that are new and haven't necessarily watched those videos. In addition to that, you can also use it to get a lot of really great insights about who it is that's watching your content. So for example, one of the things that you always hear myself and other people who make content like me talking about is you always hear us saying things like, it's really important to understand who it is that you're making content for so that you can better cater things to them and so that you can make things in a way that they are more likely to respond to. So one of the things that you can do here, and you can also do that on the relation side as well, in terms of things that they relate to. So one of the things that you can do is you can ask tons of questions to your community. You can do it in poll format. You can do it to where you just ask them to, leave a comment with their answer. But the idea is to just get to know the way that the people that are interacting with your content, to get to know the things that they are interested in, the things that they do, the habits that they have, and those sorts of things. Like if you look at my community tab, for example, I'll ask weird stuff sometimes. Like I'm like, hey, what do you do after work? What do you do at the end of your day? Do you play games? Do you watch Netflix? Do you, just kind of chill out? I'll ask questions like that. I'll also ask additional things like, hey, I'm getting ready to start batch recording some videos. So, what type of problems are you having that, that I could make a video for to help you solve, things like that. And when you are trying to get that deeper understanding of your audience, you can even take it even further. Hey, what time do you usually, wake up every day? Or, do you like football, baseball, or hockey better? Like those types of questions that you can start fine-tuning at scale the people that are interacting with your content, so you can start fine-tuning your understanding of the people that are watching your stuff. So those are two great ways to use your community feed. But in addition to that, you can also use it as a way to post information about yourself, about videos that are coming up. But the posting information about yourself side on the behind the scenes type stuff, that's more about just kind of showing people, kind of what's behind the scenes. Like, hey, this is kind of maybe just some random thing that I do in my normal life. But since you are interested in the same things that I am because you're watching my content, then in that case, this particular moment that I'm having, this thing that I'm bringing attention to might be something that you might also appreciate as well. And you share, the images or, whatever, or just a little post about those particular things. But at the end of the day, the idea is to use the community feed to keep bringing people back into the channel. And then of course, use the information that you're pulling from your community feed in order to create that deeper connection with the people that are interacting with your channel. And in addition to that, if you are somebody that is a marketer or that you have anything off site that you're trying to bring attention to or anything like that, you can also use your community feed for those sorts of things as well. So next question that we have, that was a good question there. Dr. Poop Love. Yeah, I don't even know how to react to to that channel name, but that's a good one. So let's see here. Next up, we've got Retro Dad 64. Retro Dad 64 said they've been on YouTube for less than 6 months. It's a gaming channel. The goal of the channel is to create a community around Nintendo and their games while making a full-time income. Morning, Nick. I recently changed my direction with my gaming channel and republished a bunch of videos I made private previously. I found that content to be more successful than my most recent. When I apply for the YouTube Partner Program, will they look negatively upon this and potentially deny the application, or is it okay, assuming I don't republish in bulk again? Thanks for everything that you do. So in terms of them saying like, hey, this is good or bad, I really don't know. So when it comes to YouTube getting into the Partner Program and them saying like, hey, you had these videos off and you turn them back on, that's a really specific thing. And I really have no idea on if they're going to be like, okay, yeah, this is fine because they're still public. Like the detail side of that is that when you have videos public on your channel and they're bringing in views, they're bringing in watch time, then what happens there is when you do make those private or unlisted, it removes the public watch time and the public view counts on those. So when that happens, then that works against you getting into the Partner Program. Now, when they're public, then of course, then you still maintain that watch time and all that. So what I'm not sure about when it comes to them is if they care if you had content that was, taken down and then you ended up putting it back up again. Not taken down, but content that you removed by choice and then you ended up publishing again at a later date. I really don't know. I wish I had an answer for you, but unfortunately that one I do not have an answer for because that's way outside of my, the information that I have that I have in my brain. So the next channel that we have here is RR Primetime KD. RR Primetime KD says they do mobile reaction and gaming content. Goal of the channel is to get 100 subscribers by the end of the year. And the question, is it a good practice if I record random video edits? Is it good practice if I record random video edits that video, then take a random thumbnail and edit that, upload the video on private and watch it like a normal viewer? So you don't even, there's no reason to even upload it to YouTube and watch it as a regular viewer unless you're testing it for the sake of, seeing how YouTube's going to compress your videos when you upload them or something like that. If you're like, really a quality, junkie, so to speak, then in that case, I would just only use that for the sake of just testing to make sure that, the way that you're uploading it is the way that it's going to be seen on YouTube with their compression attached to it. That would be the only reason that I would do something like that. Let's see here. So for fun, let's go ahead and take one of these out of the comment section. So if you have a question about what it is that you're doing on YouTube, go ahead and put a Q in front of your question and then put your question after that. The Q is so that I know that it's for me and not a side conversation here going on in the chat. So if you got a question, go ahead and drop it in here now. Okay, so the very first one that we have here is, let's see here, from Twana Yvette TV, says, I have over 10,000 subscribers, but the engagement or activity is horrible. How can I get my subs to wake up and still grow at the same time? This is a great question. So what happens is when people are subscribing to your YouTube channel, some people are going to end up sticking around. Some people are going to end up moving on. And that's just kind of part of the game. But the idea is that you want to try to keep bringing as much of those people back as you possibly can by continuing to give them the content that they came in for and that they expect from you. So if you have 10,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel, if you go through your content, you're going to be able to figure out what content has actually generated those subscribers. And when you figure out what content generated those subscribers, you might uncover why people aren't interacting with your current content. So for example, if you find out that, with the type of content that you make, let's say people came in and they subscribed for this, but you only have a handful of videos on that, then in that case, there's no real reason for them to keep coming back. And the way that you get your subscribers to wake up, so to speak, is you have to be able to get them to click on your content and watch your content and enjoy your content, I should say, to a satisfactory level per YouTube, so that YouTube will continue showing it to more and more of your subscriber base and giving them the option to click on it as well. So when it comes to, having, a lot of subscribers, like in my case, I actually have a kind of a different situation. One, I have to play the same game in terms of, trying to get people to click, trying to come up with topics that you guys care about and all that. But in addition to that, my audience is relatively transient in terms of, when somebody starts a YouTube channel, my channel is like a plethora of just amazing information for them. But at a certain point, and there's a lot of successful channels that hang out in the live streams as well, but a lot of those people don't necessarily watch all of my video content. The reason they watch the live streams, I'm assuming, and based on conversations that I've had with some of them, the people that do watch the live streams, they watch them because the questions that get asked here sometimes lead into some more advanced answers that then they can resonate with as well. But in addition to that, though, once somebody gets so far enough along, until I make a piece of content that's a little bit outside of, like how to get views, how to get subscribers, how to pay attention to your audience retention reports, those sorts of things, then those people will come back in for things when I'm talking about, making sure that you don't stay focused on like your analytics all the time or you'll go crazy, like those types of videos. And my videos about just mindset and those sorts of things, those are the types of things that'll bring those people back. But then some of the newer people might not necessarily resonate with those as much because they're not that far along in the journey yet. So you have to kind of walk that balance of just trying to, serve people where they're at. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing here on my channel is I'm actually introducing another series here very soon. I was going to do it last week, but I ran out of time. But I'm going to introduce a new series soon that is made for the purpose of, like everybody that's watching this, if you are, on your YouTube journey, I know a majority of people are under 1,000 subscribers, but there's a lot of people in here that are over that as well. But like, at a certain point, like I was saying, the information, you might be like, okay, I've heard Nick say this like 100 times. So, I'll skip this video, right? But for the new one that I have coming out, it's made for the purpose of, even if you get past the general like YouTube growth related information, it's still going to be, it's going to introduce you to some cool stuff to where, hopefully you'll keep clicking on those videos and coming back in order to keep learning more about, tools and things like that related to YouTube as well. So that's kind of the idea behind that. But you got to make sure that you're doing those sorts of things with yourself as well, because, you have the stuff that will bring people in. And then you also have to make sure that you're creating the content that keeps them coming back on a regular basis as well. Let's see here. So let me go in here and answer another question directly out of the chat. I'm just going to scroll up and just kind of randomly pick one here. Okay, Nick, I recently heard about spam subscribers. Are they real? And if so, what exactly are those? So spam subscribers are basically bots. So what that means is there's actually two approaches to this. One is a spam subscriber is a bot to where, like a developer or programmer has created like a network of bots. They create YouTube channels and all of that, and they interact on YouTube as people. And since they are interacting on YouTube as people, then they have to go in and subscribe to some channels, like some channels, those sorts of things. With that, what usually happens with those cases is people will usually use those bots for other purposes as well. For example, selling to YouTube content creators, view services, and those sorts of things. So that's one of the many reasons that you never want to use those types of services, because they are garbage and they do that kind of stuff in order to get you views. In addition to that, there's also the spam thing of when people are trying to do like a subscribe for subscribe, then those are spam as well. Because what ends up happening is those people will subscribe to a channel and then they leave a bunch of comments trying to get you to subscribe to theirs, and they just keep putting the same repetitive comment. And since they keep putting the same repetitive comment, then YouTube will detect that. And and content creators will report them. So when that happens, then those channels can get taken down as well. So that's kind of what's going on.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
Superchat.
Brainy Beaver says 5.5 thousand subs. I keep coming back to here. Remind me where I'm dropping the ball and to help keep the goal fresh in my mind. Thanks for the help. Yeah, great feedback. Thank you for that, Brainy Beaver. I appreciate it. Yeah, and what I'm thinking about, like most of the people in the stream are under 1,000 subscribers, but the gap between like 1,000 and 50,000, there's like a lot of people that still hang out here, in that range as well. But what I'm talking about is, once you get past like, let's say, like 50,000 or 100,000 subscribers, then in that case, that's where that other content that I'm going to be putting out will also bring some of them back as well. Let's see here. So I have 11 subscribers. How do I grow from that? First off, Jamil, I just want to say welcome to YouTube. And I just want to let you know that there are a lot of, things that you got to learn, when it comes to YouTube. Like some people will, just naturally understand, like, hey, this is a good thumbnail. People will love this. When they're putting videos together, they'll naturally understand how to do it, or they'll just do it, but they won't really know why people are responding to it and that sort of thing. So what you want to think about as somebody that's just getting started on YouTube is if you want to grow your YouTube channel, you have to always remember that with every video that you're publishing, if you want people to respond with a subscribe, with a like, with commenting and all that stuff, then you have to make sure that you're keeping the viewer in mind. So don't waste their time with a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter, like intros and, things like that. Make sure that you're giving them content that adds something to them. So what you want to think of with every piece of content that you publish is you want to think about, okay, for the person or the people that are going to be watching this video, what exactly are they going to leave with after they're finished with this video? Are they going to feel like awesome about themselves? Are they going to just be super entertained and laugh, because my stuff is awesome? Am I going to change the way they think about something or challenge the way that they think about something to where they're like, oh yeah, this is good, and they're going to subscribe because of that? But the idea is that you want to make sure that you are defining what it is that people are going to get out of your content, because if you can't define it, then you need to work on your content until you can, because ultimately what you're doing is you are becoming a media person, right? And what that means is you're making content for the internet, and that content that you're making for the internet needs to be content that is competitive for the internet, for whatever platform it is that you happen to be going for. If it's YouTube, if it's TikTok, if it's Instagram, whatever it is, everything is based on performance on all of these platforms. So because of that, you have to make stuff and learn how to make stuff that people respond to. Now, the part where people fail is they will, start out and they'll expect everything to be easy because they see all these big channels, or just, not even big channels. They'll just see other channels getting like all these views coming in, and they're thinking like, man, how come every time I publish a video, I get like 3 views, where everybody else, it seems, on YouTube is getting, thousands or hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of views on their videos. And that can become really discouraging. So what I encourage you to do is to first not compare yourself to them, take note and be like, okay, in my type of content, in my niche, people typically, the channels I watch, they'll get these types of view counts, but even the smaller channels, they'll still get, around here. But keep in mind that it all ends up coming down to the topics that you choose to make content about, how well you understand the people that you're making content for, so that you can get them to respond to what it is that you're doing through clicking on your thumbnails and titles, making the actual content that they enjoy, and then of course learning how to get them to click on it through your thumbnails and your titles. So what you need to do is you need to spend time learning about being on camera, right? Just improving your camera presence and all that. You need to learn how to make thumbnails. You need to learn how to edit video content, and also just kind of set everything up. So let's say that you're doing vlogs, right? And you're running around town. There's an art to that, right? So like the successful vloggers, they're not running around and the camera's just kind of all over the place unless it's an intentional moment where the camera's all over the place and they're just kind of doing their thing. Instead, the shots are, thought out a little bit. They're walking around. They're making sure that the camera's stable, making sure that everything's in frame and that, their audio is being picked up right and things like that. Making sure that they're showing the right stuff in the background that they're talking to, making sure that the viewer can clearly see the things that they're trying to do. And if they're not, then they can also, right, the professionals that you see, they'll also say, okay, yeah, that one didn't turn out good, because they'll watch it after they do it. And they'll be like, hey, that one didn't turn out good. Let's do it again. And then they'll make another clip doing the same exact thing when possible, of course, so that it'll create a better experience for the people that are coming in and watching the content. But you got to make sure that you're thinking with the viewers in mind first. Of course, you want to think of what you want out of your channel, but you want to think, when I'm publishing this and I want people to respond to it, how can I do the thumbnail and title in a way that will get people to click on it once they come in? How can I just give them the best possible experience that I can possibly give them, and just give them tons of value through the type of content that I have, so that they'll, want to keep coming back and watching more of my stuff. But most importantly, just hang in there. Like I mentioned, when the stream first started, it took me 5 months to get my first 150,000, 5 months to get my first 150 subscribers on my YouTube channel. I had many times during that process where I could have, shut everything down and just kind of walked away and not done it anymore. But I stayed the course. And even though that road was a little bit windy, it ended up working out. Because, I just continued developing skills, and I still do, but continue developing skills, continued, researching, like, okay, what makes YouTube work? What is it about the platform that, that I need to know about? Make sure that you go through the YouTube Creator Academy, which is 100% free and provided by YouTube. If you just go to Google and you type in YouTube Creator Academy, it'll pop up. Make sure you go to the one, because some people are trying to use that name so they can get like course sales and stuff, but it's free. So make sure that you look for the free one that is provided by YouTube. Tons of information in there that'll help you with your YouTube channel. In addition to that, make sure that you subscribe to the Creator Insiders YouTube channel, because their YouTube channel, they keep you up to date on like feature updates and things like that. Make sure you subscribe to not just my channel, but other people who make content like mine as well, because we're all talking about different things. Even though we talk about YouTube, which is the core, we all talk about different things. We all have different approaches when it comes to YouTube, and just the way that we communicate is different. So because of that, if you watch my stuff and you're like, yeah, it doesn't really seem to make a lot of sense, then try some other people, because, they might explain things in a little bit different way to where you'll resonate deeper. And you're like, oh, that's what he meant when he was talking about this, right? So just make sure that you give yourself the time to learn what it is that you're doing, because YouTube is, like, if you look at it from like the skill perspective, like when you go and you first start trying to learn how to play a sport or an instrument, this is a reference that I love to give, but when you are first learning how to play a sport or an instrument, you don't just, pick up a keyboard and you're just like, right, and you start jamming. You don't pick up a guitar and you just start jamming. You have to go through long series of periods of time in order to really, understand, like, okay, one, just to train your fingers how to move around, but two, like, you have to learn how to, do all your chord progressions and just, all of that stuff. You got to learn how to tune your strings, if you're playing a guitar, before you even, get going. So, YouTube's the same. There's a ton of stuff to learn. And it doesn't mean that you have to know everything about YouTube. It just means that you need to learn the core things. How do I get people to click? How do I come up with video ideas that people are interested in? How do I get people to click on what it is that I'm doing in terms of my thumbnail and my title, my external packaging? That's what we call that. And then once they come in, how do I get them to enjoy that content like crazy, if possible, with the type of content you make? How can I get people to share this, right? What kind of stuff can I make that people will share? And then also thinking about, okay, once somebody comes to the end of my video, what happens then, right? How do I get them to watch more of my content, right? And you try to get them to watch even more. So just make sure that you're keeping in, those types of things in mind. Okay, so now we're going to pull the next one here out of the form. And let's see, this is from Spidey Librarian. I love channel names. I absolutely love channel names, like Spidey Librarian. We had the other one before as well. Just love them. Okay, says they do trailer reactions and Spider-Man content. Could have guessed. The goal of the channel is education and entertainment. The question says, I'm currently recording my videos on a webcam and recently rewatched one. I was astounded at how home video it looked. Can you recommend how I can elevate the visual quality of my videos? Purchasing a better camera is not going to be an option for some time. Okay. So who here wants to improve the quality of your videos? Just give me a hashtag me if you are wanting to improve the quality of your videos. So, and I saw some super chats come in. I'll be getting to those right here in a second. But when it comes to improving the quality of your videos, one thing that you need to make sure that you're thinking about is you need to make sure you're thinking about the lighting. So even if you have a potato camera, right? Even if you're using a camera that is kind of like, not that great, you can still get a pretty decent image out of it if you light everything properly. Now, when it comes to lighting everything properly, what you want to think about is you can use like lamps around your place. Or of course you can go on like Amazon or something. You can just get like a cheap light kit. I have a video on my channel on a DIY light kit that you can get from like Home Depot. If you're in America, you can get it from Home Depot or any hardware store. I'm in Thailand and they have the same stuff here. But you can get this at any like Home Depot or a hardware store to where they're just clamp lights, and you can clamp them, you know, on like anything that you want. You don't need stands on the ground or anything like that. You just clamp them to whatever it is that you want. You put the right type of bulb inside, which I talk about in that video. It's a compact fluorescent light. It's daylight balanced, but you put that in there and you have like one over here, and it lights you enough to where your webcam can pick up enough of the image to where it doesn't have to compensate for the low amount of light, which will then make it like if it has that low amount of light, it'll make everything look, you know, potato. It'll make it look like it's made on an old school home camera. But you know, lighting can really make a big difference. So one of the things to think about is like a Logitech C922 is a fantastic camera, but you have to, and it's cheap too. It's like under $100, I think now. But basically with that webcam, you have to be able to light yourself. So a really cheap, free way to do this is to simply, you know, move everything over by a window and record your stuff in the daytime. Then that way you get that ambient light coming in from the window. But ultimately you just need to play with the lighting. And what I mean by that is if you look at what's going on here, you see this huge light that's right over here. This huge light taking up all this space in my place is so that I can make sure that I get a clear picture here. In addition to that, just so you can kind of know what's going on here. In addition to that, I have another light up here that you don't see. If I put my hand up, you might be able to see it here just a little bit, not really because the projector's hitting it. But anyway, this light up here, the only purpose of that light is to bring a little bit of light over here to just kind of help separate me from the background a little bit and to light up this side of my head just a little bit, not too much. Like that's the whole purpose of that. So, so when it comes to lighting, just make sure that you watch a handful of YouTube videos on like how to light yourself and then apply that to your webcam. And when you apply that to what it is that you're, you know, whatever type of camera that you're using, just lighting yourself properly by itself will help you make better looking videos. Now, in addition to that, your webcam software, Daniel Batal in the house. What's up, man? Hey, really quick, everybody. Let's go ahead and give Daniel Batal a happy birthday. Daniel Batal, happy birthday, my man. He just had a birthday the other day. And I just want to, everybody just drop him a happy birthday. Hope that you're doing awesome, man. But basically, the webcams also have a settings. So make sure that you download the webcam settings and you adjust like your contrast and your saturation, your white balance, and you lock all of that stuff in. And when you do that, when you make sure that you lock it all in on your computer, then what's going to happen is you can just experiment, or not experiment, but basically you lock it in, you get your settings all right. And then if you are like changing up the way things look, if you have it locked in on your computer, then, you know, your white balance isn't going to change, or like, you know, your contrast isn't going to suddenly fall out because the camera is trying to compensate, right? That's the idea. Okay, so let's see here. So next up on the list, so we have Asia Updated, says, hey, Nick, since I started to follow your recommendation of channels increasing views and subscribers faster than before. Thanks, man. My pleasure. Glad that you are enjoying the content, but more importantly, I'm glad that you're applying, you know, the stuff that you are applying this stuff that you are learning, because that's the stuff that actually makes everything move, right? Let's see here. So next question that we have here on our list, the next question on our list goes to Yalad Mitch. Yalad Mitch, what's up, man? Goals to reach 1,000 subscribers. It's a Fortnite education channel. The question, one of the topics on my channel is how to level up in Fortnite. But when I make a video on different topics, I rarely get over 10 views. How can I get more views on those topics? So if you are trying to get more views, it comes down to a handful of things. And this information I'm getting ready to share with you comes from YouTube. So when you are publishing your videos, the rate, okay, let's start at the very beginning. So YouTube shows your videos to people on the platform. It's called an impression. Okay. So when you have your impressions on YouTube, then your job as a YouTube content creator, step one, is when YouTube shows your content to somebody on the platform, step number one of your job is to try to get as many of those people to click on your content as possible. The way that you get people to click on your content as much as possible is at the very top. You make sure that you're coming up with video ideas that people are proven to be interested in. You do that by researching before you actually make the video. Two, the next thing that you do is, of course, you make a thumbnail and title. We call that the package with your thumbnail and title. The idea with your thumbnail is to grab the viewer's attention. You're not trying to explain the entire video in your thumbnail. You're trying to grab the viewer's attention, help the viewer identify that your content is something that they might be interested in, something that, you know, you're trying to generate some curiosity, maybe depending on the type of content that you make. But the whole idea is to grab their attention, help them understand that the content that you're making has something to do with what it is that they're interested in. The reason that this is important is because when you load up your YouTube homepage, on a computer, or if you're going through your home feed on a phone, one of the things that you're going to see is you're going to see that YouTube is showing you content based on things that you are proven to be interested in, based on things that you've already interacted with on the platform, or things that you've chosen not to interact, videos that you've chosen not to interact with on the platform. So what happens is YouTube gives those impressions, and then you have to be able to get people to click, right? That's called your click-through rate, the rate based on the amount of impressions that YouTube is giving that you are able to get people to click, okay? But basically, when you are loading up the homepage, like I was talking about, you're going to see all those things that YouTube thinks that you might be interested in. The best thing you can do is by using your thumbnail to help people recognize that with all of that other stuff that YouTube is showing them that they're interested in, that it'll help them recognize that, hey, this is something that they're interested in as well. So a really easy way to explain this is that if somebody's interested in baseball content, they're watching a lot of baseball content, one of the things that's going to happen is when they log into YouTube's homepage, or they're scrolling through on their phone, YouTube is going to show them, you know, different content, you know, related to baseball. So because of that, in your thumbnail, if you're talking about baseball, you wouldn't want to, you know, just have a bunch of text that says like, hey, they finally did it, with no additional context, right? You would want to make sure that you have imagery of somebody playing baseball, and then hey, they finally did it if you were talking about somebody winning a game or something like that. But the idea is to make sure that you had that baseball imagery in there. So at a glance, because if you load up your YouTube channel or your homepage right now on a computer or in your home feed, you're going to notice yourself as you're going through, you're looking at thumbnails, you're kind of glancing over titles, maybe you're reading some of them based on the stuff that's grabbing your attention. But as a wider thing, what you're doing is you're just kind of scrolling through. Right? You're scrolling through and you are just kind of glancing at everything. You're like, oh, hey, this looks interesting. I wonder what that is. Nah. And then you're scrolling through again, like, oh, that look, what is, oh yeah, let me watch this one. Right? So the idea is that you're grabbing their attention with the thing they're interested in, and then you're pulling them in, getting them to click on your video with the title itself. Okay. So because of that, you have to make sure that you're always thinking of how the title and thumbnail work together as a team to win the click. Next, once they've given you that impression, you've gotten somebody to click, right? Because you're doing the right things there that we just talked about. Then once they actually click, then what happens to that viewer then? So of course, when your video first starts, you're by default going to have some people drop out of the video. That's just the nature of YouTube. However, your job as a content creator is that you need to be able to stop that drop as fast as you possibly can. And you do that by using something that we call a hook. Now, that hook can be a verbal hook to where you are saying very specifically, this is exactly what we're going to be doing in the video, right? And you basically build the language around what you're telling people that you're going to be doing in that video, around things that you think that the people that you're trying to reach, that you think that they might be interested in. You use those words in your hook, right? So for example, if somebody is making videos about going to Disneyland, right? And they make a video about, you know, a particular roller coaster. Then in that particular case, let's say it's a new roller coaster that came out. In that particular case, when they start their video, they might be like, hey, today Disney just released this, they just opened up this new roller coaster, and we heard it's absolutely crazy. So we're going to take you along for a ride. Let's go, right? So what you did there is you just kind of build it up and you told people, hey, this is exactly what it is that we're going to be doing in this video. And then you know, through your excitement, like, hey, you know, they just released this thing, right? One piece of information. And in this video, and people are saying it's crazy, right? So you're building up the hype a little bit, and then you're letting them know, and we're taking you along for the ride. So it's like, oh, hey, sweet. I want to see what's going on here. Let's go along for this ride, right? But anyway, you start the video with the hook to let them know, or you hook them as fast as possible so that you can pull them, a little bit further in the content. But basically when you're doing your hook, you can do it verbally. You can also do it through teasers. A teaser is like, let's say that you're a vlogger and you have something, crazy happen during your vlog. Then in that case, highlighting some of that or just a build up to it. And then you stop it right before the thing actually happens. And then you get into the actual content that kind of builds up to what it is that, to that moment, to where you can kind of give them that release, so to speak. But the idea is that, you got to get them to click through the things that I was talking about. You got to get them to watch through the things that I was talking about as well. And in addition to that, it's really helpful also if you can also get them to continue to watch more content on your channel, further engage in terms of comments, like subscribing to the channel, sharing the video out, those sorts of things. Those are all things that you have to make sure that you're doing. As a matter of fact, Daniel Batal, who's in the chat right now, he's put out a great video. I have it in my community feed right now. He put out a great video recently showing how he gets YouTube to recommend a very specific video in the next up spot next to his videos. So, for those of you that are like, man, that's great. I would love for people, to watch more than one piece of content at a time. Definitely make sure that you check out his video after the stream, of course. Make sure you check out his video, but you can see it in the you can see it in my community feed. You'll find a direct link to it. Okay, so let's see here. Motive Gaming says, good morning, Nick. Good morning, Motive Gaming. Says, making a video for gaming, specifically basketball, would it require me making a video in a story format because I really want to get good at edit, so I'm just curious on what to learn. So if you're making a video for gaming specifically, it depends on what it is that you're doing. So like if you're showing people like, hey, this is how you play the game, then in that case, you can go through a general tutorial. If you are showing people how to play the game, technically you could build a story around it if you wanted to. But you can just share the raw information in that particular case. But you can, of course, if you can come up with a way to do it, and you'd have to get really creative on this. But if you can come up with a way to do it, then you could apply, story to it. But at the end of the day, if you're showing people how to play this particular game, then just, the actual tutorial itself. But with that, you can share additional information in terms of context of your experience with the game, of the past games they played, those sorts of things as well. So that when people are coming into the video, that they can, kind of understand that like, hey, this person isn't just a casual gamer that just happened to pick up this game the last time they're at the store and they played it. And now they're just making some random video about it. Those sorts of things let people know that you're an actual enthusiast. So the enthusiast will connect with you at that level when you do share that kind of information. So, so when it comes to learning how to, or getting good at editing, what I recommend that you do is I recommend that you actually make and edit some content that is story-based, and that you make and edit some content that is just raw info, and just put them on your channel and see, which ones that you can, see which ones people respond to the most in terms of retention and sharing and getting to the end of the video and all of that. Let's see here. Can we here? J-Rock Gaming says, thanks for all your help, Nick. I get great CTRs, but need better average view duration. If the info is valuable, do I just need to improve my delivery? Yeah, it can be your delivery. It can also be the actual structure of the video. So if you are getting people to click and that's not a problem, then in that case, just, working on your hook, working on the actual structure. Like, okay, so we've got the hook. The typical format is, here's the hook. And then we have like a little bit of a build up in terms of like, hey, this is, what we're going to be talking about, and more of the details of the things that you might be covering. And then you actually get into the body content, the actual content of the video, with, random things in between. So if that is your current structure and people aren't responding well to it, then try to shake it up a little bit. Say, okay, I'm going to do a hook. And then after that hook, I'm going to skip all that normal build-up stuff, and I'm just going to get right into the actual thing and see how people respond to that. Another thing I'm going to do is maybe I'm going to do the hook because, of course, you got to grab their attention. But then after that, maybe instead of, just getting right into the information, or maybe share instead of, building up to that, maybe I'm just going to talk for a minute about why I love the actual game. And just talk about like, hey, if I'm not sure if you play this game on a regular basis or not, but the reason I really dig this game is because blah, blah, blah. And you just go into like a personal anecdote about why it is that you personally love that game and why you play it on a regular basis and why you think other people should play it. And then you get into the content from there. But just experimenting with those sorts of things will help you uncover like, okay, when I publish this, I've got 10 videos like this. 5 videos, 10 videos, whatever. I've got 5 like this, 5 like this, and 5 like this. And then you'll be able to compare those against each other and see which ones people responded to best. Let's see here. Lukian says, I'm considering using vidIQ, but I'm worried about giving them access to my account. Is it safe? And do you think it's a helpful tool? I think that vidIQ is a helpful tool for sure. I use TubeBuddy more, but I do think that vidIQ is a great tool. And I think that as a YouTube content creator, that any tool that you can use that will help you or that will give you some type of advantage is a tool that you should use. So for example, for me, I use TubeBuddy, I use vidIQ, I use Morning Fame, I use Tube Spanner, which is a tool that's coming out more on the workflow side. But I use that on the back end because obviously, I'm part of it. So I have, access to it. But I use Keywords Everywhere as another one when I'm doing research. Sometimes I'll hop on some websites as well, and I'll look for, just keyword related information on some websites for the like SEMrush, for example, for the sake of getting just more deeper information about a particular term that I might be targeting if that video is meant for YouTube search. So because of that, I recommend that you try everything. And that you try everything and you figure out like, okay, I use this in this tool. I use this in this tool. I use that thing and that tool over there every now and then. And then I use this over here sometimes, so then you'll start to get a deeper understanding of the entire toolkit that you have at your disposal. And with some of those, you can use the free versions and you'll be fine. Other ones, you'll need to get into the paid versions in order to get, deeper things that the tool can do, so to speak. But I think that YouTube content creators should experiment with all the tools so that they can figure out what's best for them. But in addition to that, an analogy that I like to give with this one is that, when it comes to like building a house, you don't build an entire house with a hammer, right? You have, a hammer, you've got saws, you've got drills, you've got wire cutters, you've got, all the tools that go into building a house. So YouTube is a similar thing to where, if there is a tool available for it, just like your editing software is a tool, if there's a tool available for it to help give you, deeper context into like a search term or something that you're trying to do with your content, then in that case, give it a shot. And then if you find it helpful, continue to use it. If you don't find it helpful, then in that case, be like, you know what? I'm just gonna, let that one go. And I'm just gonna keep using the ones that I find the most helpful. Okay. Alrighty. So let's see here. Next up on our list, we're going to go ahead and hop into the form for this one so we can keep these form questions moving right along here. So next up here, we have It's Sam.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
It's Sam says that they do gotcha. The goal is to improve. And the question, what colors are best for thumbnails? So of course you want to use something that's eye-catching. So what that means is typically like yellows and reds are typically eye-catching, some greens. If you go for, like the more bright and vibrant greens, some blues are also eye-catching as well. Pinks can be eye-catching. What you want to do is you want to think about, okay, for the type of content that I'm making, what is appropriate? So like, for example, like if I'm doing, let's see here, like if I was doing like, since we just looked at this in our Facebook group, so like if you're doing content on like John Deere tractors, for example, then in that case, using like a baby blue might not necessarily be the right fit, or using like a really soft pink might not necessarily be the right fit for that type of content to resonate with that particular audience, right? So just thinking of like, okay, this is the type of content that I'm making, so let's keep that in mind. But then just experiment and you'll figure out over time, you'll figure out like, hey, people respond to, this color more or this structure of my thumbnail more than they typically do when I use these. And because of that, I'm going to start, I'm going to start leaning into that color as part of my branding or that structure as part of how I put my thumbnails together. Let's see here. So low background music and a voiceover or not. I actually have low background music playing right now during this live stream. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but yeah, like, that's another thing to experiment with. So, I've seen on both sides. So, one of the opportunities that I've had because of my YouTube channels, of course, working with other YouTube channels in different niches and all that. So because of that, I've seen that in some cases music helps, in some cases music hurts. So because of that, it's important to make sure that you are thinking like, okay, I'm going to experiment with a stack of videos that have the music and another stack of videos that have no music. And then I'm going to use the grouping feature inside of YouTube Analytics to compare them, or just manually do it to compare them and see if I notice any change in terms of how people respond. If you do notice a positive change, then of course keep going. If you notice a negative change, then at that point in time, you'd be like, hey, I need to stop. I need to stop on this lo-fi stuff. But you know, experimenting with it is what you want to do. But just make sure it doesn't go too loud, because you want to make sure that people can hear you properly and all that, in order to make sure that you are, you know, not drowning yourself out with the music that you are that you're playing in your videos. Let's see here. JZ Help says, got to consult with Daniel Batal. It helped me improve my thumb on a high performing vid. Highly recommend you consult with him to boost CTR and strategy. Yeah, Daniel Batal is absolutely very talented at what he does. And if anybody is looking for direct consulting, he is a fantastic source for that. And Justin, he'll be sending you a check for that $4.99. Oh, love it. Okay, so let's see here. As we keep on going, let's hop back into the forum, and then we'll jump back into the comments here in just a minute. But let's see here. So for the forum, we've got Yamatariza. I hope I'm saying that correctly. If not, I apologize, of course. They do daily content. It's a gaming channel. The goal of the channel is to hit my first 1,000 subscribers. And the question is it okay for gaming channel to try games out that best fit the person before settling down on a type of game? Absolutely. If you're just getting started on YouTube, one of the things that YouTube recommends is that if you're publishing content, you don't really know exactly what it is that you want to do yet in terms of the game that you want to play, or the specific type of content that you want to make at all. What YouTube recommends in the YouTube Creator Academy is they say, make videos. Just start making content, publish it to YouTube. But, and this is a really important part for everybody here to understand, but as soon as you notice one piece of content does exceptionally better than the other content that you've been publishing, start making more content like that, because that means that they found the right audience. That means that that the people that they're showing your content to for that type of video, they are responding to it at a higher rate. So therefore, the path is pretty much laid in front of you from that point. That is actually why I'm sitting here right now. Like when I first started my YouTube channel, I wasn't talking about YouTube tips because I didn't know anything about YouTube. I was talking about how to come up with video ideas. I was talking about like how to stay focused when you're working at a coffee shop. I did some productivity videos, that kind of stuff. But then after making a SEO video, and this is after I already left and went to another channel and came back. But I made an SEO video and people were like, hey, this was great. Share some more, information like this. And I was like, okay, made another one. And then, people were asking for more and more. And then, next thing you know, I'm now, people look at my channel as like a YouTube help channel. Let's see here. Paid promotion courtesy of Justin. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Justin, you got to put like a hashtag sponsored, after that for the ads. Oh, love it. Okay, so next up we've got let's see, Drew Project says they do music cover songs. The goal is to go full-time as soon as possible and start a Patreon, Spotify, etc. And the question, little YouTuber here, 94 subscribers, 23 videos, just did my first collab with a bigger channel and working on my second one as well as preparing new collaborations. I have a biggish project to involve 10 to 15 YouTube musicians in one big collab. I was wondering if there's a way to publish our collab video in a neutral channel or something that won't favor a specific channel, but benefit everyone. Also, is there any possibility to turn something like this into a charity project also, like some YouTube options? So YouTube does have the option to have people donate to charity through the content. You actually mark that in your Creator Studio backend. So you have to go through the process of actually setting that up first. In terms of making it to where one channel won't benefit, I recommend that you do publish it on one of your channels. And the reason for that is because, if you've already grown an audience on one of the channels, even if it's a small audience, you still want to make sure that you're publishing there to where YouTube has some data on what your channel's about and who's responding to it and who's not and that kind of stuff. But one thing that you can do is they do have collaborative playlists. So what that means is you can make a playlist. You can have that playlist somewhere on your channel page. I would not put it towards the top. I would make sure that you focus on your content at the top, but maybe one after that. If you have like, hey, these are going to be all the people that I'm going to collaborate with, and we're all just going to dump into this playlist and try to, help each other out by sending traffic around. What you would do to make that a little bit more neutral, or at least to spread the love a little bit, would be to have that playlist. Make sure that you give the right permissions to the people that you're going to be collaborating with through that playlist. You do that in the settings for the playlist, the advanced settings. And then once you do that, have everybody put that same playlist on their homepage somewhere. And then by doing that, you're giving yourself the opportunity to, you know, spread some of that love across everybody. But in addition to that, also make sure that in your actual video description that you're also, you know, giving the other channels, hey, make sure you subscribe to these people here, here, and here. And other things that you can do as well is that collaborative playlist. You can actually link to that in your end screen as well to drive people into that. And you can also link to that collaborative playlist in cards also. If you don't want to do one lit playlist to where you're collaborating with everybody, then in that case, you can say, hey, I'm going to make a, you know, if I'm going to collaborate with these people or this person for, you know, a handful of videos, then I'll make a playlist for them. I'll make a playlist for this person and a playlist for this person. And then you just use that playlist in order to share, you know, each other's videos into when you are doing that collaboration. Let's see here. So as we keep on going, we have, oh, hey, look at that. Let's see. Let me find that. Why is that not showing up over here? Interesting. That's there. That's there. That's there. Yeah, so that isn't, I was actually going to pin that, Daniel, but it's actually not showing up over here on my side. Interesting. So, yeah, so I agree though. Daniel says, I'd like to use my members free super chat to remind people to join Nick's membership program. Click the join button underneath the live stream. All right. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it, my man. So let's see here. So next up on our list, going back into the form here, we have Super Cooper Hobbies. Super Cooper Hobbies says that they've been on YouTube for 1 year or more. Type of channel is a hobby channel. The goal of the channel is to make money. The question, I recently heard about spam subscribers. Okay, yeah, we already took care of that one earlier in the stream, so we will continue along here. So Channel Ron says, I use TubeBuddy and it's a little overwhelming. So it can be. So all of these tools, like if you don't come from like a internet, like if you're not doing this type of stuff on a regular basis and then you have these tools thrown in front of you, they can, you know, be a little bit overwhelming. What I recommend that you do is I have videos on my channel about TubeBuddy. Just watch the most recent ones. But I have videos on my channel about TubeBuddy. They also have their own YouTube channel. And on their own YouTube channel, they go into a lot of details about all the different features that they have on the different tools. I recommend that you go there and that you watch a bunch of the videos as well on the tool so you can just get a better understanding of using the tool. So, you know, just like, for example, if you get, you know, like a new piece of, you know, like you get a new TV, a new smart TV, you got to go through figuring out like, hey, you know, how do I set up the audio? How do I connect my Bluetooth speakers to this thing? All that same exact thing, right? So just look at it and be like, hey, I just got to go watch some videos on how to use the specific tool that I'm trying to figure out right now. And TubeBuddy will have that for you. Okay, so next up, we've got Psych Neuro says that they do animations about psychology and neuroscience topics. And the goal of the channel is to have a side income that has to do with my interests. And the question, I do animations on different psychology and neuroscience topics. I'm growing rather slowly. Is the variety hurting me? Do you think that would benefit me to focus on a single topic like psychology of romance, for example? Yeah, I think the psychology stuff can be beneficial just by, you know, psychology as its own. However, if you did want to have different pillars, and what I mean by that is you would have like, okay, this one's like romance of psychology, and this one's like, you know, the psychology of motivation. And, you know, if you broke things down that way, and then instead of thinking of your YouTube videos that you're publishing as like, hey, this is one video, start planning out full playlists. So like that playlist would be like, okay, I'm going to make like 5 different videos or 4 different videos on the romance of or the psychology of romance, right? And then you put those videos together, and then you add, you know, each one as you publish it. You don't have to publish them all at once or anything like that. But as you're publishing those, then you would just add each one to that playlist, and then through each one of those videos, you would drive people into that playlist, and then as your content library grows, then you would also look for additional opportunities over time to drive people into each one of these playlists that you've made for these different breakdowns of psychology. So, that's the approach that you want to take. Let's see here. The Gen Exil sounds like you're like caught in the middle there. The Gen Exil says they upload 1 time per week or more, and the type of channel is personality, politics, video games, mix of streams and vids. So right out of the gate. Actually, I'll just wait until you're, let me read your question here. So the goal of the channel is to earn a modest income. The question, I focus on more than one topic area. I have almost 200 uploads in 1.5 years, only 314 subscribers. Am I hurting myself by not focusing on one topic? Yes, you are. So the topics that you have here are very different in terms of who it is that you are trying to reach. So what I mean by that is, I'm not sure if you were in here earlier, but one of the things that I mentioned earlier in the stream today was making sure that you are putting out content that, you know, people are interested in, because you got to continue to get people to click on what it is that you're doing. So once you do notice that, you know, you have some videos on the channel that start doing better, then you need to start walking in that direction, right? In terms of making more content like that. And the reason for that is because YouTube has found the right audience, and then those people that YouTube has found are clicking on your content and enjoying it enough that it's causing those videos to get more views and more impressions on YouTube. And an impression, just as a reminder, is when YouTube shows your content to somebody on the platform, anywhere on the platform. But basically, if you have, like in your case, like you're doing politics and you're doing video games, man, like if there's a wider gap, like that's like a Grand Canyon between the interest of those viewers. I mean, you're going to have some crossover, of course, but in terms of like, you know, the people that are going to be like hardcore into politics to be watching a bunch of YouTube videos on it, and then the people that are going to be watching, you know, for the video game crowd, like that's a pretty broad thing. I mean, you're going to have people that are into both, but at the end of the day, what you want to think about is, okay, if I'm doing personality, I'm doing politics, I'm doing video games, and I'm mixing it with streams and videos. If I publish a video game video, what about this video game video? Like, why would one of the politic people click on this if it showed up on their homepage? If I publish a political video, then why would one of the people that came in for the pieces of video game content click on that from their homepage? If somebody subscribed for a video game video and then I hit them with a political video after that, then you would expect them to unsubscribe, right? Pick one and that you run with it. Of course, if you wanted to do like the politics of video games, then in that case, you know, you could kind of wrap the whole thing together if you could find, you know, a way to do that. But considering politics is outside of the video game world, you would have to focus it on the politics inside of individual video games, which I guess wouldn't even exist. So because of that, I would just focus on one. Either video games, politics, and of course your personality content. You can mix that into either one. But when you're doing your personality content, just keep in mind like the people that are watching your content. So for example, if you have video game people, you know, people that are interested in video games, they're coming to you for video game content, then you want to make sure that when you're doing your personality content, if it's just like talking head pieces, commentary, that kind of stuff, then in that case, you want to make sure that you're framing it around video games. If you are doing the political route, if you decide to go that route, then in that case, you want to take the same approach and make sure that any of the personality or commentary type stuff that you're doing, that you're also catering it towards that audience versus just having some random standalone thing. Let's see here. Pacific, the casual gamer, says, "Hey Nick, my channel is 6 years old and 4,000 subs across multiple games, but no crossover. I found the game I'm going to do, but should I make a new channel?" I would try. I would give it time on your current channel and see how, see if you can get that momentum on your channel when you focus in like that. But if you do it for a little bit of time, let's say you give it like a 90-day run, or let's say like 120-day run, and you are still like, yeah, this like people are just not responding to this, then in that case, you might want to give it a shot on another channel. But if you do notice like, hey, I'm publishing these, YouTube is starting to show them to the right people, those people are coming in and they're enjoying this content, then in that case, you know, keep it on your current channel, because YouTube will already have that data. Hopefully those 4,000 people that are subscribed to your channel, hopefully that 4,000 has happened somewhat recently. If it's a really old channel and you haven't uploaded in a long time, anything like that, in that case, I would just start fresh. I'd be like, you know what? It's been on there for 6 years. I've got 4,000 subscribers on there, but most of those came back when I started the channel. And, you know, I've got this new direction I'm going into anyway. I would just build an entirely new brand in terms of, you know, coming up with different names, you know, new logos, everything. And I would just do the new channel in that particular case. But if you've gotten that 4,000 relatively recently, then in that case, I would experiment on your current channel. Jay-Z Help says, as my end card, should I use a 5-year-old but very high-performing video? It's mostly almost, this view's almost double my next huge performing vid. So when it comes to linking to things in your end card, it's not just about the videos that have the most views on them. It's also videos based on what you're trying to do. So like in your case, like if you're trying to drive leads from your YouTube videos, then in that case, you should be using like Google UTM links and actually tracking or something else to where you're actually tracking like, okay, when people watch this video, they click this link. Once they click that link, they go to my website. Once they're on my website, they go through these pages and then they ultimately end up on my contact form and then contact me for a job. And those are the videos that are performing, or those are the videos that are performing the goal, which is helping me get more leads and sales to my business, then in that case, if that's what you're doing with your channel, which I believe it is, that's why I'm making that reference. But in that case, you would want to link to the stuff that, that drives the revenue or that drives those leads. However, you also would need to balance that out because you got to think at scale too. Like, okay, so I want to drive leads to my business, but at the same time, I also want to make sure that I'm giving YouTube what they want as well. So then you could stagger it to where it's like, hey, this one I'm linking to my my business just based on the content, the topic of this particular one. I'm going to link this one to a video that is going to possibly generate a lead, or it's proven to convert people for me. And then I'm also going to mix that in with making sure that I publish content that is also proven to perform in other areas. So for example, if you're trying to get more subscribers, linking to videos that are proven to drive more subscribers, as long as it's relevant to the video that somebody's watching. In addition to that, if you're trying to get more watch time, for those of you trying to get into the partner program, then you would say, I'm going to link to the videos that generate the most watch time in terms of people watching them for a longer period of time. But basically, whatever it is you're trying to do on your YouTube channel, you just want to think, this is my goal, what I'm trying to do. How can I use all these features and all the content available to me and other external tools, like I was talking about the UTM links, in order to be able to track things properly, in order to make sure that I'm making the right decisions on the content that I'm publishing and exactly where it is that I'm trying to lead people to through the content that I'm putting out. Let's see here. And also keep in mind too, you mentioned here that your high performing video, another thing to keep in mind there as well is, even though it's 5 years old, if it's still on topic, if the information is still relevant and, you're proven there, like more people share that video or more people, watch that video for a longer period of time, then in that case, linking to that is definitely a win as well. Let's see here. Hey, just hopping on to say, hey, not able to stick around, and I'm out and about. Happy live streaming, Nick. Thank you very much. Hope that you also have a good week. Thank you for swinging by. Okay, so we did that one. Doing a quick check here to make sure that I got everything taken care of. And got a considering. Shout out to Daniel Batal. Battalion Stallion. The Battalion Stallion. Oh, God, that's great. Gonna have to have a new intro made for that one. Okay, so let's see here as we keep on going. We're into question number 15 now in the forum, so we're moving along nicely. Then we're gonna hop into the chat for a few right after this. So if you are watching right now, what's going on is I'm answering questions about YouTube. So if you're a YouTube content creator and you have questions about what it is that you're doing, there's a form down in the description that you can put questions in directly. But if you're on a phone or something, it's a little bit kind of a pain for you. I'm also going to be, just randomly pulling them out of the chat as well. But right now I'm hopping into the form. And then right after that, we're jumping right back into the chat. So the channel name here is the Writing Community Chat Show. And the type of channel is live streaming writing podcast. And the goal of the channel is to help and educate indie authors through interviews and growing the community. The question, I would love to know how to add a video to the live stream for when people wait, just like you did for this stream. It's a great way to explain what my show is about. So inside of YouTube, I'm actually going to be publishing this video. I have one version that I'm giving to StreamYard for their channel, and then I'm making a new version for my channel as well on how to add a live stream trailer, but it's really easy. So basically, once you set up your stream, if you go into the create button that you have there and you go into go live, then there you would click into your actual scheduled live stream. And then if you click on edit up in the top right, then it's going to give you additional options there, your title and all that. So what you want to do is you want to look over on the left and you're going to see an option for customization. Click on customization. Once you click on that, scroll to the very bottom of what it shows there. And you're going to see the option to add a trailer. That's where you would add that. And then you're also going to have an option to redirect. So if you have like a video premiering or something like that, you can send directly to that after your stream, or you can just do your trailer. Now, as a quick note, make sure that you upload your trailer first, because when you do it, you are actually picking a video that's already on your YouTube channel. And make sure that when you do upload it, just in general, make sure that when you upload that, since it's a trailer, it's not meant as a piece of content on your channel, make sure that you upload it unlisted as well. Then that way, your subscribers aren't going to get notified of it. It's not going to be like a useless piece of content. It'll be there so that you can add that trailer when you go live. Let's see here.
Super chat.
Citizen Surgeon says, Nick, love the channel, love the live stream. Could you comment on leveraging YouTube Shorts and YouTube Live to grow your YouTube channel? Absolutely. So when it comes to shorts, the win with YouTube Shorts is there's not a lot of competition in the short shelf. So of course, there is a lot of competition in the short shelf, but compared to long form content, comparatively, it's like non-existent. So basically YouTube has been collecting, videos, and you still see videos now that were published, like way years and years and years ago when YouTube first started. And, they're up to the point now to where they're getting 500 hours of videos are being uploaded into the platform every single minute. Right. And that's long form content. So because of that, the amount of competition that you have for long form content is it's like hard to even comprehend. Right. So because of that, when it comes to the shorts channel or the short shelf, the amount of competition that you have there is a lot less. And in addition to that, on the short shelf, people are just kind of skipping through it. Bam, 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 bam. So YouTube is presenting them content, but it's not content that they even necessarily have to pick, which is also a huge advantage. So all you have to do in the short shelf, and I'm saying it all you have to do because it's not that easy, of course, but all you have to do in the short shelf is just learn how, okay, when I publish this short, how do people respond to this? How far did I get, people in this short? Are they, looping the short? Like what's going on? But basically, when YouTube is just, somebody's just scrolling through short after short after short, nobody has to click on anything, right? So if it does show up in YouTube, because they do show up in other YouTube features as well, there you'll have to win the click. But in terms of the short shelf by itself, it's pretty much just like free views and free traffic, as long as you can make something that people respond to. So that's the idea with shorts. Now, when it comes to live, but one caveat I want to give with shorts is you want to make sure that if you are using shorts, that you make sure that they fit into the overall goal of your channel, because a lot of people are jumping onto shorts just because it's like, hey, this is going to help me get views. But at the end of the day, you also want to make sure that the views that you're getting are the right views. So, you want to keep an eye on your age. We actually just talked about this in our members group. You want to make sure that you're keeping an eye on your your demographics. You also want to, like, your age demographics. Also make sure that you're keeping an eye on your geographical demographics as well, because, like if you get just all of a sudden start getting tons of views, like your short goes viral, but it goes viral someplace that, you're not trying to grow your audience, then in that case, you're kind of, polluting the pool, so to speak. So just keep that in mind. And that is only if those people end up flowing over into your main content. If they don't, no big deal. You got that hit on the short, but unfortunately, you'll have that big base of people that subscribe from that then won't respond to something else just based on the language or whatever the thing happens to be. So there's definitely positives and negatives. When it comes to live streaming also has positives and negatives. So when it comes to live streaming, the negative of live streaming is that live streaming is great during the live stream itself, but in some cases, depending on what it is that you're doing, live streams can be not that great for the replay. So then in that case, the actual views that you're getting during the live stream are great. But then if you don't unlist it after the stream is complete, then in that case, if your live stream replays don't typically get a great response, if you don't unlist it, then that video could be suggested to somebody, or that stream could be suggested to them, the replay, in place of a piece of video content that might have been suggested to that person. So what can essentially happen there is that you're not presenting people with your best content on the replay. And because of that, you can miss opportunities to actually pull people into what it is that you're doing. On the positive side of live streaming, it can be an additional revenue source. It can be a way to directly interact with the people that are watching your content through things like, what I'm doing right now. In addition to that, it's a great way to, like, if I'm not sure exactly what type of content that you make, but it's a great way. Like if you are teaching people stuff, it's a great way to demonstrate that you know what you're talking about. Like if you do Q&A type streams, or you do any type of training type streams. And the reason for that, like if you're doing that sort of thing and you do have a Q&A attached to it, is you're able to, show people, like, hey, I'm answering these questions right here on the fly. Like none of this is scripted. None of this is stuff that I'm like able to research before I, answer your question. Like this is all based on, the knowledge that I have inside of my brain at this moment in time. And that is what it is that you're getting, right? So you get to demonstrate that. My live streams have actually part of the reason that I've been on stages and things like that, because, this showed the people that are making those decisions that I know what I'm talking about, right? So when it comes to live streams, it can be really great for that sort of thing. In addition to that, the community aspect of streams is fantastic, because over time, you'll start to notice regular people come in and they start to enjoy your live streams. So when you do it on a schedule like I do, then it can, at some point, it can actually become a destination for people, to where it becomes part of their routine, to where people just regularly come in and hang out and they get to know each other through the chat and things like that, which is another really cool part about live streaming. Another downside of live streaming is that, it's a whole other, side of tech that you have to be ready for. So of course you can go the basic route, like, hey, I just got a webcam and I'm just sitting here like in my place. But then you also got to make sure that you're thinking about lighting and, your microphone and, making sure your audio is good and all that. Technically you can do that with your video kit. If you're already making videos, you might just have to get like an additional, few things, but the tech side is definitely something that you got to think about. So in terms of, the positives and minuses of both, they both have advantages and disadvantages. At the end of the day, it's just thinking like, does the time that I'm going to be spending doing these things help me, help me get closer to whatever it is, the ultimate goal that I have this YouTube channel for in the first place? If the answer is yes, then try to leverage some of those features. If the answer is no, then in that case, you might want to reconsider. But, one thing I can tell you from live streaming though, man, it's addictive. Like, it's so much fun just because you get to come in here and, like if you have it, cause I do it both ways. Like on this stream, I just do the Q&As, but on other streams, I'll do actual like training content and stuff. And I absolutely love live streaming. So it can get addictive. Like once you get into it and once you start doing it, it can be fun. And when you start putting together fun stuff like sound effects and, all of those types of things, then it just becomes, it's a good time. It's a good time. That's why I typically stream on Saturdays now. I typically stream, we were on like 7 hours when my brother was here. But since he's in Mexico right now, my streams will typically last about like 3 hours, give or take. So hopefully that answered your question. Okay, so next up on our list here, J Deep, thank you for the super sticker. Tier Talk with Anthony says, what are some of the best ways to expand your expertise in your niche? What are some of the roads that you take? So the best way to expand your expertise in your niche is to study. Like look into everything that you can possibly look into related to the type of content that you make. That means, Googling around for different blogs. That means, following actual, resources in the, industry. So like, for example, with me, I follow everything that YouTube does. I'm even in their video contributor program, which not a lot of people are in. So I also have like access to they have like a forum of sorts to where certain people get access to that forum. Like I have access to that. So those types of things are a great way to just collect information based around the things that you do. And then of course, in addition to that, experimentation is also a great way to figure out what's going on. So like, let's say, for example, if you are learning how to play a guitar, in my case, it's YouTube. So, I've been fortunate enough to be able to experiment on my channel, but also experiment with clients over time. However, depending on the type of content that you have, just like if you're picking up a guitar, you got to experiment. Like, hey, what does this sound like? If I play this, what does this sound like? On YouTube, it's a little bit different because then on YouTube, what you get to do is you actually get to, test stuff, like, hey, this is the idea. Let's test it, see how it goes. Right. But in terms of like expanding, your expertise, I would go to conferences as well. So I would go to conferences. I would, read everything that you can possibly read, listen to podcasts about it, just fully immerse yourself in the information, because most things, there's, hey, we got Roger Wakefield in the house. What's up, man? Hope that you're doing fantastic. John Benson, Sales Copy Secrets. What is up? Hope that you're doing great. He says he's running like crazy. He just wanted to say hello, everybody. Yeah, he's a machine over there. So, but basically what you want to do is you just want to, just start Googling around and uncovering like the reputable resources around what it is that you're doing. And then you start to, understand, the places that are trusted and all that. And then of course, your own experimentation will definitely get you a long way as well. And then of course, making industry friends. So when you are getting into anything, like when you are able to bounce ideas and thoughts and theories off of other people who also have experience with what it is that you're doing, that can also help rapidly when it comes to the things that you know. So for example, like with the type of content that you have, like if you're like, okay, I've got like, 5 different industry friends. So then if I'm like, I wonder how people would respond to this, instead of you having to go through that process of like trying to figure it out, you can be like, hey, have you guys ever done this? Hey, have you ever done this? Have you ever done this? Have you ever done this? Did it work out? Did it work out? Was that good? Did you get a good response? No, yes, no. Like what happened? So then, creating that network is definitely something that can be beneficial for expanding your expertise as well. Let's see. Investing with Matt says, whoa, cool member milestone chat feature. Thanks for all that you do for your community, Nick. One question: what's one goal that you have for the rest of 2021? For me, I have a few different products that I'm a part of that we're trying to get out here as fast as we possibly can. So hopefully all of those will be out and rocking and rolling by the end of the year. In addition to that, getting back to a 2 video per week, 1 live stream per week upload schedule is another thing that that should be happening here within the next couple of weeks. So so those are things that I'm personally trying to work on and get together. I've been with my actual video content, as I'm sure some of you have noticed, if you've been around the channel for a long time, is, my consistency hasn't been, that great, because I've just been busy with stuff going on behind the scenes, which is not an excuse. But, I'm getting back on board with that. Because it's important, when it comes to YouTube, you got to make sure, especially, and this is really important for everybody here. Like if you're just getting started, or if you're already a thriving content creator, one thing to always remember is when you start your YouTube channel, you have all of these these things that you're like, man, I hope all these things happen. And then as things start happening, it starts taking up more time. And then as those things start taking up more time, you have to remember, right? If those opportunities are coming from YouTube, you have to remember, okay, the thing that's making all of these things happen is my YouTube channel. So because of that, I got to make sure I'm taking care of the YouTube channel, because it's really easy. It's extremely easy, because amazing opportunities are going to come your way. It's really easy to go off track and start focusing on other things that take away from your YouTube channel, and to just totally abandon your YouTube channel or just kind of half do it. And when you do that, you get impacted in everything else as well, right? So just keep in mind that as you are, growing through this process, that, as those opportunities start coming in, they're going to take more of your time. And as those take more of your time, make sure that you always reserve time for to keep your channel rolling, if that is the thing that's bringing in those opportunities. Let's see. So next up on our list, after this question here, we will jump into the chat for the next one. So next up here, we've got Jerry Papandrea. What's up, my man? Hope you're doing great. Says they do food appreciation and recipes. The goal of the channel is to build a community around food. The question: when YouTube is testing your video and search upon publishing, does it make sense to limit the text and tags and description to make it more likely that you'll rank for keywords in your title or a transcript of the video? Okay. If you're trying to rank videos in search, YouTube search is based on performance. So of course you want to make sure that you have your keyword or keyword phrase in your title somewhere. But at the end of the day, YouTube will end up, understanding what your video is about. But one of the things when it comes to YouTube search that is important is the match for the query. So what that means is if somebody puts in how to make toast, and you have a video on how to make toast, or, how to make toast in 6 easy steps, or how to make toast without bread, or how to make toast without butter, or how to make toast without a toaster, or whatever the thing is, as long as you still have that how to make toast in there, if somebody's looking for that information, then right out of the gate, just by having the right thing in there, you're increasing your chances of showing up in search. So from there, what happens is, let's say YouTube tests your video there and people start clicking on your video. Guess what's going to happen? Even though after that first 7-day period, maybe it's going to drop down a little bit, or maybe it might even vanish for just a little bit, your video will end up coming back there, and then YouTube will end up, or it could stay there, and YouTube will continue to keep your video there as long as people keep responding to it with a click. And then of course, once they watch it, as long as you're getting enough watch time per impression to stay competitive with the other people that are there, and of course, additional engagement and just overall satisfaction for the viewer, as long as all of those things are happening, then you'll maintain those search positions at least somewhere there. And the better those responses are, the higher up in search you're going to be. So because of that, always make sure that you include your keyword for what it is that you're going for, if your keyword phrase, if you are going after YouTube search. Those sorts of things also help in terms of context at the time of publish, just to, make sure the system has a better understanding of what your video is about as well. So that's why it's important to, when possible, go ahead and have your captions finished before the video is published, or extremely, right after the video is published, so that as soon as it hits the platform, that context is there. So it knows the right people to show your content to, and it's not showing your content to the wrong people. I'll see here. Simply Small Engine Repair says, hey, Nick, woke up late today, just jumping on for 30 minutes to an hour, then watching later on the replay. Super cool. Thanks for swinging by. Welcome to another day. Hope that you're doing awesome. Hope that you enjoy your coffee if you're a coffee drinker, tea if you're a tea drinker, water if you are a water drinker. Whatever it is you start your day with, hope that you are enjoying it. Okay, so let's see here. So next up on our list, we've got Pam. Pam says they do indoor and outdoor gardening. The goal of the channel is to inspire people to cultivate more green space inside and out. And the question, I fell into a slump with my channel, a bout of depression over the summer, but I'm feeling recharged and posting again. What are some things that I should keep in mind while trying to start my channel again? So what you want to do is you want to go in, you want to see YouTube in your YouTube analytics is going to show you the videos that are bringing in the most views, like over whatever date range you select. So what you want to do is you want to look for the last 28 days, maybe the last 90 days, but more so the last 28. And you want to say, okay, the videos that are bringing people in, what are they? And the people that watch these particular videos, what could I make next that these people would be likely to respond to based on them proving that they're interested in this specific topic by clicking on it and watching those videos? What could I make next for those people? So you want to take that approach because those top videos, right? The ones that are bringing in all your viewers right now, like those are the people that are most recent in your channel, the people that are most recently interacting in your content. So therefore, the likelihood when you publish a new video of some of those people seeing it is going to be high. So you want to make sure that when they see your video, that's something that they're interested in so that they're going to be more likely to click on it. Right. So those are the things that you want to make sure that you're keeping in mind as you're trying to get things jump started again. In addition to that, I would also recommend that you go through some of your old content as well and start looking for some problem areas as well. Like maybe while you're preparing to, restart the channel, go and look at some of your old content and start looking for dips in your audience retention and those sorts of things to try to uncover like, hey, these are some things that I could actually fix on some of this new content that I'm getting ready to publish so you can create an even better experience for those people that are coming in. So Simply Small Engine Repair is a Red Bull drinker. Nice. So Red Bull, the actual, I think it's the owners of Red Bull. They're actually here in Thailand. Some drama actually around some of them as well. One of the kids actually. The fun Google search for you there, Simply Small Engine Repair, if you want more info on that. Okay, so next up on our list here, we've got Kinser. Kinser says they do gaming. They goal of the channel is to build a community and to get known. And the question, how to get viral with short videos, like as in copying successful meme videos, but adding a twist, for example. As an example, I'll be uploading GTA loading screen variation, which hasn't been done before. Would you recommend for a small channel to try to become viral in general? More than 50, but less than 100 videos. Thanks in advance. You're great, Nick. You are also great, Kinser. So when it comes to trying to become viral in general, so you have viral in terms of like a video just goes bonkers, right? And a lot of that will come down to how people respond to it on YouTube, but it's also about how people share your content out as well. So like if you have tons of people sharing your videos out, plus they're responding to it positively on platform, the likelihood of your video getting a lot of views, I'm not going to say viral, but the likelihood of your video getting a lot of views is going to go through the roof if you're having that type of activity happen because people are responding at a high rate on YouTube and they're sharing it, which means they're bringing other people onto the platform because of that video. So because of that, YouTube will continue to show that video to more people as long as people continue to, have those interactions with it. So because of that, focus on making good content instead of thinking like, hey, I'm focused on going viral. You have to break that down and you have to think of it from a different viewpoint. So instead of thinking of it from like, how do I make this video go viral? You got to define like, okay, well, what is viral, right? What is viral? What is viral in relation to the type of content that I make in terms of other channels who make content like mine, their highest viewed videos, those sorts of things. But one, define viral. Two, start thinking of why do I think that, that these videos got a lot of views on them and start just trying to make that experience. Because the thing with YouTube, and we all have to play into this. The thing with YouTube is it comes down to like your rise or fall comes down to how people respond to what it is that you're doing. If your goal is to go viral, then ultimately what you have to do is you have to learn how to make content that gets a great response on platform and that it's stuff that people will share as well, or that just the on platform response is huge so that when you publish that content that you have the, likely chance of getting a lot of views on that video. If you're like, hey, you know what? I can't get people to watch more than like 25% of like a 5-minute video. Then in that case, instead of thinking about, hey, should I try to go viral? What you need to be thinking about is, hey, I need to try to learn how to make these videos better so that people will respond to them better. Because I have no chance of going viral if people don't respond to the content that I'm putting out, right? So because of that, just make sure that you're thinking from that perspective of, I'm making content for people on YouTube, for human beings on YouTube. The only way that my video is going to get a lot of views on it, and a lot is up to interpretation as well, but the only reason that my view is going to get a lot of views on it is because people are going to really love this video. And if my video shows up in Google somewhere, people are going to click on it and they're going to love it there. So because of that, Google is going to continue to show my videos to people as well when people are looking for information on this game. When people are watching this video, they're sharing this video out, and it's causing a lot of people to come into platform because of this video. So all of those things come down to making sure that you're making content that people really dig. And if you make content that people really dig, then if you're viral or not is one thing, but you will continue to get view counts on your videos, and in some cases, substantial view counts on your videos if you focus all of your efforts on the viewer experience and just making content that that your viewers will love, right? That will get you further than thinking like viral. Think service, right? And by service, what I mean is, when people come into this video, like what am I giving them through this content? Am I just creating an awesome experience to where they just can't turn away because my video is so epic they have to watch like every second of my video? Or am I making a piece of lackluster content that when I publish it, people will get, just a little bit into it and they're like, this is enough. This is enough for me. I'm out of here. So focus all of your efforts. If you're wanting, to go viral or to get lots of views on your videos, it all is going to come down to, you being able to make content that creates a connection with the people that are interacting with it. Let's see here. So next up on our list, let's see here.
Super chat.
The Luxury Hybrid says, what are ways to offer value to a larger creator as a way of presenting a collaboration with them? My channel is fashion related. So when it comes to this, first off, it's important to know that when you are reaching out to larger channels for a collaboration, like they know what's up. Like if you have a substantially smaller YouTube channel, like they know that, hey, this person's reaching out to me to collaborate because they're probably hoping that, that I'll send them a bunch of subscribers. So, they know that. So trying to dance around that is something that you don't even want to worry about because they're already, they already know that. But in terms of offering value to a larger creator, that can come down to just a video idea. It can come down to like you just planning out like a whole video and be like, hey, this is a great idea. I think, you would be a great person, to fit this. Let me know if you're interested. There's that. There's also other things that you can do as well. So for example, when it comes to the value that you offer, it can come down to other things also. So for example, like I've done collaborations on my channel before that actually opened up. It's so weird how life works sometimes. So basically, and I still do this from time to time, but like when everybody went inside, right? When all that happened, I had this thing that I was doing religiously every day to where just because of the type of content that I make, and I'm building a story around this just to kind of give you context on this value thing, because it actually ended up me giving the value, and then it ended up coming back to me as well. But basically, when everybody went inside, I had this thing based on the amount of outreach that I get and people, just wanting help with what it is that they're doing. I had this period of time to where every day I would wake up, and the first thing that I would do when I, sat down to work is I would open up an email, and if like one of the people that were in my email or maybe a DM on Twitter or whatever it happened to be that were asking for help, I would just reach out and I'd be like, hey, do you want to hop on a call? Or here's some information based on the question that you asked or whatever. And I would try to help people out. And one of the people that reached out, he reached out for OBS. He's like, hey, I'm trying to set up, OBS, and I saw your videos on it. You look like you know what's up, and I just need some help, setting it up. I was like, hey, this is something different. Yeah, let me hit him up. So I hit him up and I'm like, hey, I got your email, and I'll just hop on a call, because he even offered. He's like, I'll pay you, whatever. And I was like, hey, no charge, whatever. Let's just hop on a call and we'll do it. And we hopped on the call. Come to find out, this particular guy owns a company, a very successful company. And they ended up like sponsoring, you know, some of my content in the future. We ended up doing collaborations on, you know, both channels. In addition to that, you know, like that person is now on my contact list as somebody that I can reach out to, you know, in the event that I have, you know, a question about my business, because he operates at an extremely high level. So, you know, if I have a question about my business or, you know, something like that. But all of that whole thing started with, you know, him just asking me a question based on the value that I put out in the video. And then, you know, and then me just offering to, you know, just to help and just, you know, be nice. And as part of that as well, he also went on to like, you know, different podcasts and stuff. And he like talked about me there and like told people like, you know, hey, you know, check this dude out, you know, he's solid, that, you know, those types of things as well. So, you know, the in terms of the value, like it can come in like all kinds of, you know, different ways. So that initial value ended up generating like a network or networking value. And that person is also, after all this stuff is over, they're actually going to end up coming over here and staying over here for a while as well. So because of that, it'll probably end up being a friend, you know, as part of that value that came in. And in addition to that, there was also, you know, the monetary side as well, and the ability to be able to ask questions and things like that if I need to. So, you know, all of those things, right, are you know, a great thing from, you know, from that value. But in terms of ways that you can offer it, of course, coming up with just a full video idea and having everything like, okay, hey, this is the video idea that I have. We can do it on your channel or not. Like, you know, we can have a video on both of our channels, or we can just do it on my channel. I'd love to have you on my channel and open the door that way. But basically, starting there, if you have any type of thing that you do that you can provide that person. So for example, like if you are, because you're in the fashion world. So like if you have a connection in the fashion world to where you can connect to that person, like if you know somebody, you know, to where you might be able to bring them like a brand deal of some kind, or at least make a connection to where that possibility is there or something like that. Those types of things are also, you know, great in terms of the value side. But at the end of the day, here's what's going to happen. You're going to reach out, even with that value, right? Like you're going to reach out and you're going to say, hey, you know, I would like to, you know, do this video with you, right? The first thing they're going to do is they're going to, depending on them, if they even do collaborations, first thing they're going to do is they're going to go and they're going to look at your YouTube channel. So the best thing that you can do is make great content. And if you make great content, then the likelihood of you getting those collaborations with larger channels is going to be there. Because if you make great content, they're going to see it, and they, because they're experienced, will be able to look at it and be like, oh yeah, this is good stuff. Not just how it looks, but just like everything about what it is that you're doing. Like if you make excellent content, then the likelihood of you getting those larger collabs is going to go through the roof. If your content is like, it's all right, but you know, it's not like awesome, then in that case, you know, the likelihood of you collaborating with, you know, somebody that has more experience that does put out great, amazing content is going to considerably drop, regardless of the value that you provide outside of that. But in terms of, you know, different ways, yeah, off the top of my head, of course, you know, going ahead and just having the video, you know, planned out and explaining the structure to them. So like, here's the video idea. We will upload, you know, files into here. I'll have my editor put it all together, or I'll edit, you know, the video together, so you don't have to do any work. So here's the, you know, video idea. I'll edit the thing together, so you don't have to actually do any of the work involved. You know, any of the, you know, music or anything like that involved, I'll go ahead and source all of that stuff. You know, I'm doing those subscriptions for it, you know, all those, so that you basically are taking care of everything. All they have to do is just record on their part or show up in your video if it's something that you happen to be doing in person. So a lot of information, or just a lot of stuff there. But at the end of the day, make great content, and that'll get you pretty far. And in some cases, they'll reach out to you. But you definitely, you know, if you are wanting to collaborate with larger channels, you do want to make sure as well that you are trying to offer something. So if it's, you know, services of some kind, if you do offer, like, for example, like, let's say that even though you make fashion content, let's pretend that you're a web developer for your job. Then in that case, you know, if you're like, hey, I want to collaborate with this person, I realize they don't have a website. Then in that case, hitting them up, being like, hey, you know, I want to do this collaboration just as a bonus. If you do it or not, you know, I'll go ahead and, you know, put together like a 2-page website, you know, just a quick about me, and then, you know, something for your sponsors or potential sponsors or whatever. And, you know, I'll do that for you just as like a thank you or whatever it happens to be. So hopefully that answered your question. So next up on our list, we've got Pomos is the name of the channel. They do a Minecraft channel, gold channels to grow a community. Question: do you have any watch time tips for videos such as 15 builds in Minecraft? Is using chapters worth it? How do I get people to watch further through the video? So you get people to watch further through the video by learning over time through publishing video content. how to make content that people respond to, in terms of like, when I do these things, they stick. When I do these things, they leave. That's number one. In terms of additional watch time tips overall, just getting people to, hop from video to video by simply making your content easy for them to find. I call this my watch time trap, but at the end of the day, all it is, that's just a fancy, fun marketing way of saying, I got to find ways to make it easy for people to find more of my content. So YouTube has all these different features. I just got to make sure I'm using all these features and directing people to content that would be relevant to them based on the video that they're currently watching. Right. So there's that. In addition to that, getting people to go further through the vid, of course, cut out anything that doesn't add to the video. So a lot of people believe in tons of garbage, tons of stuff that has no positive impact on the video whatsoever, that the video would be better without. Make sure you spend the time. Like, edit your video, make your video, edit your video, sleep, wake up, watch your video, and see if it's still as awesome as you thought it was when you went to bed. If it is, then in that case, you might be okay. But if not, then sit there and watch through it and be like, okay, what out of this video could I cut out? Even if you are satisfied with it, just sit back and think, is there anything I could cut out of this? Anything that I could cut out of this video that would help save the viewer a few seconds of time that maybe would help them continue watching this video? Let's see. Good karma. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Next up on the list, we're going to do this one from the comment section. So if you have a question, make sure you put a Q in front of it, and I will just randomly pick one out of the pile here. We're going to start with Drew Project. In collaborations, does it make sense to edit 2 or more different videos with the same content but different camera angles, for example, for each channel? Depends on what you're doing, man. So like, when it comes to collaborations, that is all down to you and the creator that you're collaborating with. So typically when I do them, one of the things that we typically do is I'll have a video on my channel, they'll have a video on their channel, and we'll talk about either different things, or I did one that was a really successful collaboration with Jevin Dovey, who is a great content creator. You should all follow his YouTube channel. But I did one with him. We wrapped the whole thing around YouTube mistakes. And basically what we did there is we just kind of went back and forth, where he had a video on his channel, I had a video on my channel. We did 4 videos in total. And then we put all those videos into a playlist. And both of our objectives for that collaboration was, we're putting these videos on the channel, and then we are driving people into this playlist. That's what we're trying to do here for all of the videos that are involved in that playlist. We're driving people into that playlist so that they can also experience that other content creators' content. Let's see. Next on the list here. All right. So I just checked the my mentions here on Twitter. So going to drinking the Kool-Aid. Nice. Love it. Magic Flying Potato. Thank you for sharing here. I'm actually going to make sure I can share that one. Yeah, I can. So I'm going to share my screen here really quick. Just a quick thanks for the for some of the folks that are sharing this out. So first off here, we've got Clementia just sharing the drink here, watching the stream here in the background. We've got Brad over at Magic Flying Potato dropping some Oreo love in there as well for the stream. So thank you guys for sharing the stream out, for mentioning that. Massively appreciated, of course, as always. So let's see here. Next up, we have, switch back to that screen. We've got Nerds Doing Things. Nerds Doing Things says they do theme park videos, movie trailer reactions.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
And the goal says, I love creating content and believe that it can be a second source of income one day. Fingers crossed. Question. Love your channel. Watch it every day. My question is, I started my channel creating theme park videos. I recently started reacting to movie trailers with my girlfriend. There's so many theme park vloggers. Do you think that it's smart to do both, or stay in the theme park category only? So one thing to think about is you have to make sure that when you are making content, like a lot of people, when they start making YouTube videos, they will make content based on, I got to turn a light on over there. I've got it on a timer and it shut off on me here. So give me 1 second. So turn on office chill. Bam. There we go. Okay. So when it comes to making content, when it comes to YouTube, you are going to be making the content for your YouTube channel for a long time. Like I've been doing here, next week actually is my 7-year anniversary on YouTube. So you're going to be making content for a long time. So because of that, it's important to, one, think of what do you really enjoy. So there's the side of things to where you think like, you know what, I think I would like making this type of content. That's one thing. But then there's the other side of like, you know what, I talk about this with my friends every opportunity that I get. The websites that I'm watching are about this topic. The videos that I'm watching are about this. The podcasts I'm listening to are about this. When I get the opportunity, I read about this. Like if you're that into something, like that's the stuff that you make videos about. And the reason I'm saying that is, like I said before, like you're going to do this for a long period of time, which means that you're going to fully immerse yourself in that topic, that subject matter around whatever type of thing it is that you're making. So if it's Minecraft, then you're going to be doing your brain is going to be Minecraft for the next like handful of years if that starts doing well for you. If you are doing theme park stuff, then in that situation, your brain is going to be like theme park for the next however long. And you're going to be, looking into like all the different, hey, these are the new rides that are coming out of the different theme parks. These are all the different, things that are going on. Here's the news about the theme park. Like you're going to be fully bombarding your brain with information based on whatever it is that you are making your YouTube content about. And in addition to that, if your channel starts doing well, you're going to be known for that type of content, which means that you're going to be talking about it even more. So because of that, it's really important to make sure that you're making content about things that you enjoy, because if you're not making content about things that you enjoy, then you're going to end up like burning out, or you're going to end up just like not enjoying what it is that you're doing. So you'll be like, hey, I got to this, I've got 100,000 subscribers on my channel, but I don't want to make any of these videos, right? I just don't want to do it anymore, right? Like you'll run into those sorts of things. So because of that, it's really important to make sure that you're thinking now when you're getting started, that you're thinking now, like, okay, let's say, because you say here that the goal of the channel is that you love creating content and you believe that it can be a second source of income one day, and you say fingers crossed. So what I recommend that you do, and everybody here, that like if you're just getting started, what I recommend that you do is you think to yourself like, okay, if the stars aligned perfectly and I make all the right choices, even some of the right choices, let's just say that I have, a nice handful of videos that start getting me attention, and then I start compounding on top of that with additional content, and people continue to enjoy it, and my channel grows and things start happening the way that I want them to. In the next 5 years from now, or 3 years from now, what does that look like? What does it look like in terms of the money that I'm making? What does it look like in terms of the content that I'm putting out? What does that content look like? What does it sound like? What types of stuff am I doing in the videos? Thinking about what type of people am I interacting with? Who am I interacting with specifically when it comes to, this part of my life? Like, what is it that I'm doing? Try to visualize all that stuff so that you can think now, like, okay, based on the topics that I'm talking about now, the things that I'm making videos about, is this something, like, is this going to lead me in 5 years, 3 years from now? Is this going to lead me into some place to where when I'm there, I'm going to think like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I did this. I'm so happy right now. This is fantastic. I love waking up every day and doing this, or several times a week. I mean, some content, you don't even have to, it doesn't even take that long to make. So, just thinking to yourself like, hey, like, if everything works out perfectly and you're in that moment, then just think to yourself like, okay, is this subject, the thing that I'm talking about, is this something that would make me, like, if all these other things are happening as well, or if they're not, is this something that I would still enjoy creating? If your answer is yes, then that's the thing that you want to focus on. If the answer is like, then in that case, you might not want to do that type of content. And one thing that I really want to address here as well is you mentioned that there's so many theme park vloggers. So even though there are a bunch of theme park vloggers, people haven't experienced you yet. The experience that you're going to give people at a theme park, even though it might seem right now, it might seem like, hey, I'm going to walk into the theme park, I'm going to talk about the rides, we're going to give them the ride, things like that. The thing that's going to separate your theme park content from everybody else that makes theme park content is you. So because of that, it doesn't matter if it's saturated. It doesn't matter if there's already people doing it. If there's already people doing it and they're getting results from it, that means that path is a proven path that people can succeed at, which means that you also have those other channels that you can also get suggested traffic from, which means that when people are watching those videos, YouTube can recommend your content next to theirs. And in addition to that, once YouTube detects that, hey, people that are watching, the videos on this theme park, they're really responding to this channel. And typically some of the viewers that are also watching this channel over here, they're also responding to both of these. So let's start showing, on home pages, let's start showing, some more of these viewers, some content from this channel, and see how they respond to it there. Right. So there's tons of advantages. of making content that people look at as saturated. But at the end of the day, as long as you are the defining factor on what makes it different, then, you know, there essentially is no competition. Mark Sporrell, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. Says, thanks for everything you do. Helped me a lot when I was getting started. Thank you, Mark, for the kind words. I appreciate it. Montessori Plug, hope I'm saying that right, says, hello, Nick. Loyal subscriber here. For a new YouTuber, should I prioritize low volume keywords or low competition if I had to choose just one? So you want to balance the two. And I know it's not the answer that you're looking for, but you want to balance the two, because like if you are, well, okay, let me back up a second. So the first thing that you should be thinking about is that YouTube search is an amazing source of traffic, and you should definitely consider it depending on your content type. 2, in addition to YouTube search, the majority of traffic on YouTube actually comes from their recommendation features, which means the homepage and being recommended next to other content. So because of that, you want to make sure that when you are putting your content together, that you are thinking, you know, keywords, you know, I got to give some context here to the humans that are interacting on YouTube and to the system in terms of YouTube. So I'm going to add keywords, maybe keyword phrases to what it is that I'm doing. But ultimately, you want to make sure that you're putting together a package that's compelling, that it's not just like, hey, this is the keyword or this is the keyword phrase, but you're also just thinking through like, hey, here's the title, here's the thumbnail. And in addition to like me making sure that I'm optimizing this for, you know, whatever search term, I also got to think like, okay, if somebody were to see this on a homepage, what would make somebody click on this on a homepage that didn't expect to watch this video? Because in search, and this is a reference that I give a lot here during these live streams, like in search, it's a great thing when you're first getting started. And even when you have an established channel, it's great in terms of a steady, consistent traffic source. Like one thing that you'll notice is like, if you target search with some of your content and then you target, you know, the recommendations for others, you'll notice the recommendation traffic's like this, right? Like it's all over the place. And then you'll notice that with your search traffic, like when you get like a nice stable amount of videos ranked in search, it's just like butter. Like it's just kind of like just barely moves and it just continues, you know, over time to end up, you know, going up as long as you keep targeting it. But at the end of the day, search is extremely consistent. But the big, humongous wins typically come from recommendation features, especially the fast ones. And the way to put that into perspective really quick, and then I'll continue with your question. But the way to think about that is if you publish a video today on, we'll just say how to cook a cake is your thing. And you publish a video today on how to cook a cake, and that's what you're targeting. In YouTube search, it would be almost impossible for you to get probably 100,000 views on that video within the next 24 hours, next 48 hours, right? For that particular term. But if you made a title about cooking a cake to where maybe you have that in there somewhere, but you made it super compelling or in your thumbnails juicy, and you put together just an amazing package in the video content itself. Let's just say the video content is equal in both cases. In terms of the response, let's say both of them are very high response. There's going to be a limited amount of people searching for that content over the next 48 hours. Whereas if you publish that video, YouTube knows, hey, these people are watching recipe videos. These people are watching cooking videos. These people are watching videos about cakes. These people are, you know, looking for planning about weddings. So what happens when you plan for weddings? Hey, food's in there somewhere. So, you know, this person might be a good candidate for this cake video. So when it comes to recommendation features with YouTube, they can show that video to the right people. And as long as those people respond to it, then in that case, like that video could get 100,000 views within the next like 48 hours compared to YouTube search, where that's, you know, that's a much harder thing to do because it's limited to the amount of people searching for it. Long term, though, the search video might end up doing better than that video that got that initial spike in views and recommendations, but then end up kind of tapering down. So that's why it's important to make sure that if your content type supports it, that you are targeting search as long as your content type supports it, but that you're also not excluding trying to be as compelling as possible with your title and thumbnail and just the topic itself, so that you can also tap into the recommendation features. So then that way, what you're doing is you're optimizing for discovery overall and not just YouTube search. So the way to do this, and just a really basic thing before we move on, the way to do this is you think, okay, when it comes to YouTube search, people are actively looking for what I'm making. It's easy, low-hanging fruit. As long as my video is, you know, based on that topic, and as long as people respond to it, people will find that video. I'll get views over time. But another thing to think about is for the people that come onto YouTube thinking that they're going to watch like a like SpaceX video launch, or they come onto YouTube thinking that they're going to come hang out in Nick's live stream, or they come onto YouTube thinking they're going to, watch a video about, fixing a part of their car, then in that case, if my video about, this cake shows up on their homepage, how can I make this compelling to that person that didn't expect to watch it, that YouTube just put this in front of them without them, anticipating like, hey, I'm going to come on here and watch some videos about cooking cakes. Like for those people, what is it about your topic, title, and thumbnail that would make those people click on it? So if you can do both of those things in terms of optimizing it for search, but also keeping that broader view of overall discovery in mind, just by applying that effectively, like you'll get more views on what it is that you're doing, as long as the content is good, right? So as long as you can get people to click and the content is good. So that's number one. But when it comes to, and I'm actually going to pull this up on screen real quick, just because we're talking about a lot. And I just want new people that are coming into the stream right now to just have some context into what it is that we're talking about. In addition to that, when it comes to YouTube search by itself, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're balancing the low volume keywords and the high volume keywords actually, and the competition. So you want to go for things that are getting searched for a lot, but don't have a lot of competition. And in most cases, that requires a substantial amount of research. So you want to make sure that you're doing that before you make your video, so that you can make sure that the video that you're making, you have the highest chance of being able to rank that video. So you want to make sure that you do all that research on the front end. But what you want to do is you want to look for high search volume and low competition, and you want to find that balance between the two. And then if you can do that, and then you publish those videos consistently, as long as they perform in terms of people clicking on them and getting what they want out of that video, then those videos will end up ranking in search. But if you can't get people to do that second part, then it doesn't matter how well you optimize your video. It doesn't matter what metadata you use in terms of, the specific keywords that you add to your title and description and all of that. None of that matters if the actual content itself doesn't keep people watching and doesn't give them that satisfaction that YouTube wants. Because if you can't do that part, then the videos won't remain in search anyway. So you got to do the entire thing there as well. So when it comes to your question, you want to just, kind of re-deliver what I just said. You want to make sure that you're thinking of overall discovery, not just search, but that you are, if you are targeting search for the long game, that you are making sure that you are targeting a specific keyword or keyword phrase for search. In addition to that, you want to make sure that you are going for high search volume with low competition. And the reason that you want to do that is because if you go for something that has a very low search volume, like, okay, let's say you're looking for something that people look for like 10,000 times over the course of a year. Then in that case, then it's like, okay, well, then the most views that I could get from search for this, as long as YouTube only pulls me up for that one term, could be, if I got everybody that looked for this to click on my video and not somebody else's, would be 10,000, right? Versus, if you had something that got, several million searches over the course of the year, then in that case, the likelihood of you getting a larger amount of traffic from that would be, much higher. So because of that, you would just want to make sure that you're balancing the two. Hopefully that answered your question. All right. So let's see here. Next up, we've got, says, how do you find that? If you're talking to me, let's see here. This is, Hanging with Hodge says, how do you find that? So that's one of the things that TubeBuddy does, is they actually help you find that. So they have something called a keyword explorer, and you have to use it right. A lot of people with TubeBuddy's keyword explorer, they'll put in a whole title. That's not how you use the keyword explorer. An entire title isn't a keyword. So what you want to do is you want to actually put only the keyword or only the keyword phrase into the keyword explorer, and then TubeBuddy will start giving you data back on the search volume for it and all that. But in addition to that, other things that they'll do is they'll give you recommended ways that people are searching for it as well, that maybe don't have as much competition, but they still have, a fair amount of search volume and so on. So TubeBuddy will help you do that. I got a link to TubeBuddy in the description, or you can just go to tubebuddy.com and try it out. Let's see. Jay-Z Help says a little something to help D produce a funk album. I'm going to OD like a bunch of money from you, man. D's going to be like, hey, dude, pay up. Like, he's going to show up in Thailand and be like, hey, man, it's nice to see you, but hey, man, you owe me all this money that Justin has sent over. Where's it at? Pay up, sucker. Should I join a fandom and add value to that fandom to get views and subs? So when it comes to YouTube and getting views and subs, ultimately the most results that you're going to get are going to end up coming off of YouTube, or through, external in terms of like Google search, for example. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that when you're joining things, that you're not necessarily thinking like, hey, I'm joining this so that I can get views and subscribers, that you're joining it and thinking like, hey, this is a place where I want to interact, and I'm going to be a YouTuber that's interacting here. So because of that, if I do have content that's a good fit for this group, then of course I'll ask the moderators if it's okay to share from time to time, that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, don't just join stuff thinking like, hey, I got to join this so I can get views and subscribers. The thing that will help you get views and subscribers is learning how to get the on-platform viewership so that YouTube will continue to show your content to people as long as people continue to enjoy it. So Fit Dad Chris says, finally able to afford my first camera. Which general purpose camera do you recommend in the $300 to $500 range? Ooh, $300 to $500 range. I'm not sure how much the M50 is, but the M50 is great. But even with the M50, like you would also want to make sure that you get like a decent lens for it as well. So I wish I could give you an answer on that one, but I'm not really sure. Because I know like with the M50, like it's a good camera, very versatile, shoots 4K, all that good stuff. But in terms of the budget, $300 to $500, you would need to get like a kit. So you have the body and you have the lens. If you're gonna get the camera. So because of that, I'm not sure if that fits into your budget or not. Yeah, this is a great question that, thank you, Brad. Yeah, this is a great question that Mr. Camera Junkie would be able to answer for you, since that's more his area of expertise. Let's see here. So next up, we've got, actually, let me share this out really quick, just in case anybody wants to come and hang out. Drop this in here. Bam. All right. So let's see here. Next up on our list here, we have Aman and Suhan. Says that they do comedy videos and entertainment. The goal is to make people laugh. The question, is our channel dead? We used to get 10 subscribers every day. Now we get 0. What should we do now? Figure out the content that caused that 10 subscribers to happen every day. And try to make more content like that. Try to figure out, like, you don't want to just look at the number and say, okay, this, more people subscribe to this video. You want to try to uncover, like, okay, why would this video cause more people to subscribe than the other content that we're making? And really think it through in terms of like, did we give like, like, were we really funny in this one? Were we entertaining? Was our tone, at a certain place to where, people just like related to us at like a really high level when they came into the video? Was it, where we put a specific call to action, inviting people to subscribe? Like, what is it, about this piece of content that we think that people subscribe to this one more than the others? And then you test whatever theories you come up with against new content. Chris Stanley says, I'm a gaming channel and I just uploaded a video 2 days ago. Check my analytics. It said to change my thumbnail or title. Should I change the title or thumbnail now or wait a week to see what will change? Yeah, if you get that notification inside of your Creator Studio that tells you that, hey, a thumbnail or title change might be the path here, then in that case, I would change. I would update both. I would go and look at my click-through rate for the thumbnail by itself. But ultimately, like if they're telling you that, it's because you're not getting a good click-through. So because of that, I would update the packaging from the outside completely. Roberto Blake in the house. So we've got, he says you can't get anything with it under 650, honestly. Mr. Camera Junkie says he can probably find a used kit for that price right now. If not able, he'll have to save a bit more. And then Roberto says that it's also worth it to save up that little bit of extra and get something, a little bit nicer. So let's see here. Next up on our list, Pie in the Sky Tours. Says they do gaming content. The goal of the channel is tutorials and flight exploration in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I've never played that. I've seen people on Reddit. How many people here do the flight simulator have play on a regular basis, the Microsoft Flight Simulator? I've seen people talk about that on Reddit. I've seen screenshots and all that. I've just never put it in. I've never played it on this monitor. That would probably be really cool on this monitor. So you know what? I'm actually gonna pull up a notepad really quick to remind myself to install that, because I just want to see what it is. Install Microsoft Flight Simulator. Okay, guys, I'm just curious. Like it looks awesome. But say the question: the average watch time for my videos is less than 50%. How do I improve this? 1, make shorter videos. 2, if you don't want to make shorter videos, then in that case, try to find, like, you'll notice like a drop, kind of happening in your videos. So when you're in your audience retention, you see just like a regular drop like this. Try to think, is there anything that I can do during this game that would lessen that drop? So for example, let's say that as your video is playing, let's say you just start talking about other things. Like you could talk about, what it is that you're showing. I would have to actually see the content to like really nail this one. But like if you are like showing people like how to play the game, or you're talking about what it is that you're seeing, that's like one experience. But if you could build like stories into it, like maybe if you are flying around an area that you've been, and then you start just telling random stories from your life about that, to where you can actually pull people through from watching the content itself. Plus they get to, follow along with the story. So they want to hear the end of your story. That could be one thing that could help you get through that. In addition to that, if possible, if you could, if you notice like, hey, after about like, 3 minutes, people tend to just start heading out pretty quick. Then in that case, right around like the 250 mark, all VR is best. I'll try it in VR then. Yeah, way better. But then like around, let's say like, the 2.5 minute mark or something, if you notice people are leaving in 3, maybe 2 hours or 2 minutes and 45, then in that case, just like stop everything, right? Just do a full pattern interrupt, stop everything, and just jump in, with you on camera, or, show something else completely or whatever. And just say something like, hey, really quick, I would just love to know, the favorite city that you're the place where you, love to fly the most, or, whatever. Let me know in the comments, something like that. And then get right back into the video and see if that sort of thing, kind of helps level people out. So then you get that interaction, and then they are forced to engage there. For some of those people that will interact. For the people that don't interact with that, then it at least kind of breaks up what they're seeing. And then you get back into what it is that you're doing. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, I have a Steam account. Yeah, so I'm good there. I just haven't put that in. So with that, because basically like with my Quest, and I actually haven't even, with the exception of turning it on here at the end of one of the live streams, like I haven't really played that in quite some time. I love it. Absolutely love it. But my girlfriend and I, we usually play games together. So because of that, the VR is hard. Like I have the other one too. I have the Quest 1 and the Quest 2. And I keep thinking like, hey, I'm going to set, her up with the one, and then, I'll be on the new one. So because of that, we might be able to play and, together there. But I just haven't done that yet. But yeah, I miss VR. I want to play more VR. VR is awesome. I love taking the VR headset on an airplane. Because on an airplane, it's cool because there, like, you get like the rumble of the plane, you get like that little bit of motion. So playing games where you're like, floating through space and stuff. Like I love the space station games and stuff like that. When you're on an actual airplane, you look like an idiot, but you get to, enjoy the flight a little bit more while you're up there, playing around with that. But anyway, we'll get back on track here. So the next question is, the new updates made it great. Nice. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. VR on a plane, that's classic. Yeah. I like when I have to fly to the States, like basically what I'll do is I'll get that loaded up. I'll side load, or I think it's called side load. I'll side load Netflix as well, so that while I'm up there, I can like sit in a movie theater and whatnot, and watch movies and whatnot. So, okay, next up, we've got Arch Plays. Arch Plays says they do gaming content. The goal of the channel is to give joy to kids and adults and try to make money. So my goal is to reach 1,000 subs. And the question, how do I get live views? I stream on PS4, by the way. And what do I like? And what do I do? Like, I need to grow my channel and get more subs and views because I want to be a big gaming platform player and make money. So what you want to think about is, if you're doing Let's Plays, that is all going to come down to your personality. And then of course, how you're getting people to click on the, on what it is that you're doing while you're live. And then of course on the replay. I recommend that you record it on your PlayStation, pull it into a computer, edit everything up on your computer so that you can just make a funner experience. Because, there's downtimes in games walking from here to there, like it just takes up a bunch of time. So because of that, when you can actually download the footage and then you can edit everything together and make it just like a cool experience and a fast experience for the viewers, then in that particular case, it can just create a better overall experience. So I would go that route when it comes to, just trying to get everything moving a little bit better. So here's what we're going to do. So we are going to have a, lightning round here. So what we're going to do is I have a super chat that I'm going to answer here. After the super chat, put a Q in front of your question. And when I say go, then start dropping your questions in there. And I'm just going to start mowing through those, the questions. So first off, though, let me do this from
Super Chat.
Science-Based Fitness. And it looks like another one came in too. So I'll get that one as well. So says, some of my original videos are my highest views and still continue to get views. Now that I'm better at creating, do you recommend creating a new video of those videos, or will I just be hurting myself? I definitely recommend that you create additional videos. Do not take the current ones down, but do create updated versions or something that is topically similar. So for example, because you do science-based fitness. So for example, if you have, one video about like your biceps, 3 ways to, you swell up your biceps in the next 90 days or something like that, then do something very similar to that. If not, even doing the same video, just making it better. And the reason for that is because all of that data that YouTube has from that one particular video can help the additional video as long as it performs well. So I had a situation with this one on there's a cooking channel that I worked with. Awesome stuff. Barbecue, actually, specifically. And on his channel, I recommended that for a chili recipe that he did. And because the chili recipe was one of the highest viewed videos on his channel. And, it was great. Still bringing in views, all that stuff. But the video, the new version that he did, the updated version, ended up blowing past the original version. So it was a huge spike on his YouTube channel. I really recommend that you do take that approach. Let's see here. So next up on the list. Oh, and that was more than one. I've done that more in one case. It's just his was like an exceptional one with it like really just blowing past the original one that was put out. But let's see here. So next up, we're going to lightning round. That's where we're at. Okay, go. So I'm starting from when I said go. So it would be, on my view, the one that comes right after Adam's exploits here. Okay, so, nope, didn't put a Q. Okay, so Boris the Beast says, at what point in your YouTube career did you hire a video editor, and where did you seek them out? So I started trying to hire video editors quite some time ago, and I went through like a few, and they were good, but they just didn't like nail it. And then I put out a post saying that I was looking for an editor, and then Vigard hit me up. Like, we already knew each other. Like, he's been here in Chiang Mai. We've hung out. And, we talked online, all that good stuff too. So he's like, hey, I see you're looking for an editor. I'm, interested. And then, from that point forward, we've been working together. But I would say for me, it was probably somewhere around 100,000 subscribers on the channel is when that started happening. And when I first started, trying to, reach out and have people, edit and all of that. In terms of seeking them out, like if you are looking for an editor, like I have a video editing service called vidcharge.com, vidcharge.com, where we do video editing as well. So we're actually looking, just, if you're interested in that, hit us up over there. And then either myself or someone else will follow up with you on information there in terms of timelines and stuff like that. Let's see here. So the Cortus Leprechaun says, trying to decide about live streaming once in a while, but I heard YouTube penalizes your other videos in discovery and you live stream. Is this true? It's not that it penalizes. The thing can happen though, to where like when you schedule the stream or when you go live, since your live stream is like, hey, this is the content that's happening on the channel right now, then it prioritizes that live stream. So people will still be coming in from the other content, but it prioritizes the live stream, which means that some of the other content can take a hit. But then once you go, once that live stream is complete, then in that case, you'll see, those videos that did, get, like, it's usually a recent video, like a recent video or two. Then you'll see those videos kind of bounce back, so to speak, after the live stream. So one thing to think about as well is when you are live streaming, just make sure it's topically on point and something, the value that you offer is something similar or something better than what you can do in your video content. Fit Dad Chris says, what advice do you have to someone doing their first live giveaway? I've already been through all the terms and rules and such using StreamYard, giving away some gym gear. So first, just be very clear to people on what the rules are and how they can participate. StreamYard has a giveaway tool. It's like a specific giveaway tool. So I recommend that you use that and that you randomly pick somebody out. So you've already been on the thing in terms of like the, the rules for YouTube, so that you already know that you're not allowed to have people say, or like that you can't say, like, okay, in order to win this, you have to be a subscriber, because then what you're doing there is you're incentivizing the people in order to win it, that they have to be subscribed to the YouTube channel, which then in turn makes it to where it's not an authentic subscribe, according to, when they change that rule. So because of that, just make sure that you're keeping that in mind. But StreamYard has a giveaway tool to where, like, if you did it to where it's like, hey, everybody use this hashtag, they use that hashtag, and then you basically add it to their spinner, you hit the spinner, and then it'll land on whatever you've previously set up. And then you can pick somebody out. You can pick somebody out from there. When should you take old videos down from your channel? When they no longer perform. So YouTube actually recommends that you don't take any old videos off of your channel. But I always take videos down for myself and people that I've worked with. I take them down. Like if they're not a benefit to the channel and they haven't been a benefit to the channel for quite some time, then they'll be removed. So like, for example, like if something hasn't gotten, views, or at least, any, like a substantial amount of views, like in the past, 3 or 6 months, it's not really doing anybody any good being on the platform anyway. So because of that, I'll go in and I'll check just to make sure that, nothing like weird is going on in terms of like I'll look at the traffic sources and be like, okay, hey, make sure this isn't embedded anywhere or anything like that. And then I'll go ahead and take it down. Can you tell us about being a channel member, please? What are the benefits? Absolutely. So basically the main benefit is that we have a members only Facebook group. In that Facebook group, we look at channels every week. In addition to that, it's just a great community that we have growing over there of people that are serious about YouTube. So like a lot of groups and stuff, you'll find people that are in there. They'll just be posting stuff just because, they're just like, they're just posting stuff. Like they're not really serious about what it is that they're doing. In the group, like everybody there is like serious about what they're doing. So because of that, it's not filled with just a bunch of garbage. It's just like, it's good stuff in there. But you also get like a little icon, as you can see here in the stream, your little icon next to your name, identifying you as a member as well. And then I've also in the Facebook group and in the community feed, I also give away things from time to time where I'll just drop them, in the community feed or in the Facebook group for channel members as well. Little things like the subscribe thing that you see down here. I've got live stream graphics in there. I've got Instagram templates in there, all kinds of stuff like that. Best use of community tab. Sharing your videos in there on a regular basis, videos that are proven to perform based on whatever it is you're trying to do with your channel, either on watch time or gaining subscribers or generating, higher CPM videos, things like that. Sharing those videos on a regular basis. In addition to that, using them for polls so that you can get a deeper understanding of your audience themselves. And you can also use them to get a deeper understanding of your audience in terms of how it relates to your content. So for example, like I publish on a regular basis asking people about my live streams. You participate in the live streams, yes or no, and I try to figure out why. And then that also helps me, like, okay, a small percentage of, people that saw that poll, participate in the live stream. So because of that, I know that this is still a thing that I need to, continue to keep going. If all of a sudden that dropped down to like 5% of the people that participated in that poll participate in the live streams, then I would start considering like, okay, maybe we should retire this live stream, give it some time, and then, bring it back later, or just not do lives anymore. So, things like that, you can use it for that kind of information. In addition to that, you can also use it to where you are. What I mean by embedded somewhere is if somebody has and this is for Jessica really quick. If somebody has it embedded in like a blog or something like that, because if they have it embedded, then in that case, I might make it unlisted and not necessarily delete it. Because if it's unlisted, then they'll still be able to see it on their blog. But if I completely delete it, then on their blog, if somebody goes to that part in their article, then it'll say like this video has been removed or whatever. So because of that, if somebody has embedded my video, I appreciate that because they're using my content within their content. But it also brings attention to my channel and what it is that I'm doing as well. And they might have other videos, in their blog as well. So that just gives me the opportunity to just check real quick and see where the traffic is coming from, so I can make sure that I don't make a difficulty for them to where they have to, update what it is that they're doing because I deleted something. But in terms of the community tab, also asking about your audience, things, in terms of things that you might think that they care about or things that they don't care about, so that you can also better connect with them. So for example, one of the polls that I recently did was asking people how they identify. So do you identify as a YouTuber or as a content creator or what else? And to let me know if it was something else. And because of that, I found out, I haven't looked recently, but like shortly after I did the poll, I found out that, people resonate with content creator more than YouTuber. So I'll double check that again, here, probably this coming week. But at the end of the day, that's going to help me when I'm writing titles for my videos. So then I can be like, I can make a very specific thing that those people that interacted with that community post recently said that they identify with. So then therefore, if they're identifying with content creator, that means if I use the word content creator in my title, that at least based on the people that are interacting with that poll, if I use that as like the whole source of my information, then what that tells me is that if I use content creator versus YouTuber, then that in the title is going to resonate with them more, or in my thumbnail or wherever it is that I happen to use it. So that's the idea. Let's see here. Trigger Key says, I paid for 1 year discount to TubeBuddy Pro because I was under 1,000. So I reached 1,000 today. High five and fist bump to you. Nice work. Nice work on your first 1,000 subscribers. Love it. And I see your keyboard too. So it looks like you're making music even better. Absolutely love it. Let's see here. So my question is the plan going to stop working now that I'm over 1,000? I'm not, I'll be honest with you. I've never had anybody ask that question before. I've never been in that situation. I have no idea. What I recommend that you do, go to support. I think it's support@tubebuddy.com. Send them an email and ask them, and then they'll let you know. They'll let you know what's up there. I wish I had the answer for you, but I'm not exactly sure, because I know they give you the discount. If you sign up when you have under 1,000. But I'm not sure if once you cross 1,000, if you still get that discount just because you signed up early, or if they end up, causing you to upgrade. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to guess that they probably let you keep it, but I don't know for sure. Let's see here. Can we get a screenshot of you saying, I'll get the new one, please? I'm not sure what that's in reference to. I'll get the new one. Can we get a screenshot of you saying I'll get the new one? Yeah, I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Maybe like if you need a video of me saying I'll get the new one, you're a channel member. So, if you're in the Facebook group, then mention it in there. And, I might be able to make a quick video for you. Let's see here. Should I take off videos that didn't get many views and keep up only ones that performed better, so that when someone looks at my account, they only see the videos that performed better? Somebody looks at your account, it doesn't matter. The only time that it matters is when they are like a sponsor or something like that, or a potential sponsor. Outside of that, it doesn't matter. In terms of, somebody seeing larger view counts once they hit your homepage. What you want to do when it comes to your homepage is you actually want to put your uploads at the top. And then underneath that, you want to start thinking of all the content that people are coming to my channel for. How can I organize that in a way where I can add it to sections? Oh, it was a joke. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. But to where I can add that, how can I add these sections, playlists that I add this as sections on my channel page to help people find the content that they care about faster? That's what's most important, way more than displaying the view counts. John Benson says, let's see here. How do you structure the UTMs to track link clicks from every video? Do you create separate UTM links for every video that you create? In my case, I don't do that anymore. Like for me, because I'm not trying to generate like leads from this. So because of that, like I don't do it anymore. That's something that I do that I've done with clients in the past. So in order to do this, what you would do is you'd create a separate UTM link for each video based on what it is that you're trying to do, but you'd make a new UTM link for each video. And then if you have your own website, which you would, because you're using that UTM link so that it'll track through in your analytics. So what you'd want to do is you'd want to either install a plugin if it's like WordPress or something like that, or find a way to do it through your HT Access, to where you would essentially not cloak, but you would basically take that long UTM link and then you would put it behind a shorter link that would bounce it off of your website, like on the way through, in order to be able to track it through. But for that, if you just look for like UTM link generator on Google, then it makes that entire process really simple in terms of putting it together. And what you want to do in that case is you just want to bookmark that. So like, for example, here in Google Chrome, I have this like bookmarks bar at the very top of the screen. So what I can do, or what you could do, is you could just have that there. If it's something you're going to be doing a lot for every video, so you want to make sure you track everything separately, then in that case, you would want to make sure that you have that generator up there. So you can just click on that, go and fill in the information that you need. And then if you want to drop that into your htaccess file to shorten it, if not, then that's fine. But then that way you would be tracking every single video that you are putting out. Next, I was curious on audience retention stats. What do you think is a good audience retention percentage from where you start to see more recommendations from YouTube itself? So it depends. And I know that's not the answer that you want, but it depends. So like if you get like 50% is what I tell people to start striving for. And the reason I tell people 50% is what you want to start striving for is because if you can get 50%, people through your video, if you can get 50%, then you're going to be able to start collecting some like really good info on how people are responding to what it is that you're doing. But when it comes to videos getting, starting to get like, a lot more exposure, typically it would be around like 60% or so. But one thing that seems to be happening with the chapters is some of that stuff is actually fallen by the wayside because of the way that people are interacting with the content. So because of that, I would really focus on trying to get the retention to around 50% or more if you're not using chapters. But if you're using chapters, people are just naturally going to be skipping all over the place anyway. So just keep that in mind when it comes to your chapters. Luckily, also, just as a quick note, just in case you didn't get the news, or in case you just haven't seen the information yet, for those of you that are using chapters in your videos, YouTube now has the option to where they show you lines where your chapters are, so that as you're looking at your audience retention on the short view, they show you on that on the quick view from the outside. They don't show you when you actually dig into the video yet, but on that quick view from the outside, you'll actually see the bars going down for the chapters. So then you can start interpreting like, okay, are people skipping through these chapters, or like what's going on, to help you get a better understanding of how people are going through your content. Eric Waite Whiskey Studies, it's a tracking link through Google. So like if you are, basically what it does is it allows you, like if you put it on like a YouTube video, somebody clicks on that YouTube video, then they hit your website. Since it's all done through analytics, then it basically tracks that traffic from your video into your website, and you can actually see the flow that people are taking on the website as well, or how they're interacting with the website once they get there from the video. Let's see here. I want to review interior design reality TV shows and add educational information to particular scenes. Example, why do all need a beam when you can take down a wall? I'm concerned about copyright. Yeah. So when it comes to copyright, you have to make sure that the way that you're doing it is that you are doing it in fair use. And when you are, publishing content and you're taking the fair use route, one thing that you have to make sure that you are aware of is that when you are using other people's content, you might have to defend that either through the copyright system on YouTube, or if push came to shove and it was a worst case scenario, you might need to defend it in court. So because of that, what I recommend to everybody is, one, research a lot on fair use and how to make sure that you comply. Two is I would also contact an attorney and make sure that you make a video and give it to them, and show your attorney and say, okay, you don't have to upload it to YouTube, but just make it and say, okay, this is what I'm trying to do. This is the content I'm going to be making. Would you be able to defend this in court under fair use? And if they say yes, then in that case, you have the green light to go ahead and just publish that content like crazy. They're like, the way that you're doing this is kind of questionable, blah, blah, blah. Then work with them and say, okay, what do I need to do to get this to where you would be able to defend it? And then you work, you start walking down that road. Let's see here. Okay, we answered that one already, and it didn't have a Q. Okay, answered that one. Okay. Charity Speaks says, in addition to YouTube, I also have a membership specific to my channel and bookkeeping clients for time management. I'm wondering your thoughts on one upload and one live a week instead of 2 uploads. Here's the thing. When it comes to YouTube, like, you're going to be doing this for a long period of time, so you have to make sure that you balance it with your life. So if you have other things that you're doing outside of just being a YouTube content creator, which most people do, then in that case, you have to make sure that you can, balance everything. So, so in that case, if that means that you can do one upload, one live a week, that's perfectly fine. If you can only do the one upload per week, that's perfectly fine too. I wouldn't recommend just on the live, but if you can only do one upload per week, then that's fine. But if you can do the upload plus the live, then that's good, because then that would give you, the opportunity to, since you have a membership that you're, driving people into, then that, would give you that opportunity to be able to take some people from those streams as well and introduce them in a different way to what it is that you're doing compared to what it is that you're doing in your video content. Let's see here. J. Rose Design Education. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Let's see here. What is a good, free, and expensive, easy to use screen recording program? Inexpensive would be Camtasia. With Camtasia, I've been using them since September of 2014. That's when I started my YouTube channel. I've been using them religiously ever since. And I recommend them always have. There are also, like, if you're wanting some things that are not as complex in terms of, how they, make things look and zooming in and out and, all the cursor highlights and being able to draw on screen and stuff. If you're just looking for something super basic, then in that case, you can use like OBS. If you use OBS, then it'll just record, it'll record the screen. If you're doing tutorials and you want to be able to record the screen and then have you on it, and you want to do it at a very low tech way, then in that case, you can also do that through StreamYard. Because StreamYard, you can live stream with StreamYard, but you can also record directly into StreamYard as well. So then in that case, it's a little bit different though. I'll pull up Epidemic Sound here, I'll pull up the YouTube form just as an example. But like when you are doing it there, if you are doing something like tutorial based to where you are going to, have it on screen with you, then in that case, if you did it this way, then you could do something like that as well. And then StreamYard will record it, and then you can just download, directly out of StreamYard and then upload it to YouTube. Let's see here. Gaming with Christy says, what is typically a good click-through rate? So according to YouTube, and they don't give us any impression information. An impression, just as a reminder, is when they show your content to somebody on the platform. But they don't give us the impression information, but YouTube tells us that between 2 and 10% is the average on the platform. Magic Flying Potato, remind people not to spam. Thank you. J-Rock Gaming says, what are the reasons why a video with worse average view duration might get a lot more impressions and views than a video with better average view duration? Higher click-through rate, higher additional engagement. So like, for example, let's say, and just overall satisfaction. So like, let's say, for example, that you have your higher average view duration video is, let's pretend that they're both similar length. You have two videos that are the same length. One has a higher average view duration than the other, but the click-through rate is lower. That means that the amount of people that means that you're going to generate less watch time per impression. If your click-through rate is higher, but your average view duration is lower, then in that case, you're going to generate more watch time per impression. So your click-through rate is probably the answer to that one. In addition to that, it's also where you're getting the traffic from. So for example, if one average view duration is lower, but you're getting a lot of the traffic from search, that might be perfectly fine. To where you're getting, a lot of the view counts coming from search, to where the average view duration that is higher might be getting more traffic coming from like recommendation features as an example. So it's just, it's going to come down to where you're getting the traffic from. It's going to come down to like your click-through rate, and then plus all the other things that YouTube tracks as well in terms of the additional engagement. Do they watch additional videos? Because like, for example, one of the things that YouTube mentions is that when you are, and they mentioned this in the YouTube Creator Academy, but what they say is that that if you can get people to watch another one of your videos, the originating from one video, like let's say you have video A, and when people watch video A, either through cards or end screens or a pinned comment link or whatever it happens to be, people are clicking and they're watching another video of yours, and then they watch that one, for a long time. Then in that particular case, according to YouTube in the YouTube Creator Academy, they say that that originating video that is causing people to watch more content on your channel, that video is more likely to get promoted elsewhere on the platform as well, or shown to people elsewhere on the platform as well. So, so there's a lot of different variables when it comes to, why one would be doing better than the other, but those are just a few, off the top of my head, in terms of, what can cause that. I know your everyday channel is different, but what CTRs are a reasonable target? like 70% for retention. CTR is different than retention. So CTR is your click-through rate. So I know you say every channel is different, but what CTR is a reasonable target? So you want to get as high as you can. Like that's it. In terms of a reasonable target, you want to get as high as you can. So like one person, like if you got, let's say like 1 million impressions on a video, but you have like a 3% retention, then that video might be crushing, right? You might have hundreds of thousands of views on, well, actually you wouldn't, but if you have, like lots of impressions on a video, and that video is getting like, millions of views on it, whatever, that will typically drive your click-through rate down. Because typically as a video gets more impressions on it, or it gets more views overall, typically the average view duration can take a hit in terms of it, reducing, and the click-through rate can also take a hit, because essentially how it works is when you publish a piece of content, the people that are most likely to engage with that content at the highest rate are going to be some of the first people to see it. Based on how those people respond, it's going to keep going out to even more people that YouTube predicts will be a good fit for that. And then it just kind of keeps expanding from there. But as it expands, the people that start seeing that content, they become less and less likely to be a perfect candidate to experience and enjoy that content. So the prediction is that they might enjoy it, right? As we start getting way far out, that they might enjoy it. So YouTube will show it to them. But if they, decide to click on it or not, is going to determine if they continue to, show it to even a wider and wider range of people. So in terms of the click-through rate, what you want to do is you want to go through your content. You just want to start looking for the videos that have performed well in the click-through rate that you've gotten from there. So if you're getting, let's say, like 100 views on a video, and the amount of impressions that you're getting to get those views is relatively low, then in that case, having a high CTR, it's relatively easy to keep, because those are the people that are still here in this very core group when you publish your video. But as it keeps going out to more and more people, that's where it starts getting more difficult to maintain those higher numbers. Because, like, for example, subscribers typically respond to content better than new viewers do. So because of that, if your subscribers are a part of that core group, then just by default, those people are going to respond better, which then will inflate those numbers when you have the lower view counts compared to it going out to a broader, newer audience that would drive those numbers down. But yeah, 70% for retention, that's fantastic. But it also depends on the length of your video. So like 70% of a 1-minute video is not that great. Whereas 70% of a 10-minute video is pretty good. 70% of a 20-minute video is fantastic. Let's see here. Try to OBS, a little too confusing for me. Let's see. Do you know Greg Jacobs? I do not. WP Mage. Yeah, I don't. Off the top of my head, no. Doesn't mean that we haven't interacted at some like group pre-pandemic, but I'm actually going to look for his channel right now just so I can see. MP Mage. Yeah, it's not coming up. Let's see here. Greg Jacobs. No, yeah, it's not coming up either. So yeah, I'll look around, see if I can find him. But yeah, the name doesn't ring a bell off the top of my head. But that doesn't mean that we haven't interacted previously if he lives local. How can I be able to produce a substantial income? Best affiliate links recommendations. Great question. So when it comes to being able to produce substantial income, this is a great question because the substantial part is really important. So when it comes to right now, I'm pulling them from the chat, and then we're going to go back into the forum here in a second. So I was just going through like the lightning round here for just a little bit here, just to kind of keep me focused on the chat for a little bit. But basically, when it comes to affiliate links, you want to make sure that in some cases this is easy, in other cases it's very difficult. So it just depends on what you're talking about. But if you can find things that are recurring, memberships, things like that, that you can bring attention to, those will typically end up stacking up relatively fast to create a substantial amount of money. So like one way to think about it is if you can find 10 different services that have recurring income, or recurring, like membership type things based around the type of content that you have. And you can focus on each one until you get it to roughly $1,000 a month. Then out of that, if you have 10 of those, then you have it to where, you're generating $10,000 a month on recurring revenue, which means that even if you stop publishing videos, as long as people stay subscribed to those services or memberships or whatever they happen to be, that you're still going to continue to get that revenue regardless. So that's one way. In addition to that, creating your own stuff is also very advantageous as well. So for example, so I have a website. I'll use this one as one example. So I have a website called tubertools.com. A lot of you, I'm sure, have gotten some stuff there. If you haven't, then you should go to tubertools.com and you can buy stuff in the store. And that store, and I'm not using this as a pitch, I'm using this in reference to the question. But basically, you can buy stuff from the store. And when you buy stuff from the store, that's a one-off sale, which means that that store generates its own income just based on those one-off sales. And when I created that, I saw that, and I was like, okay, in order to keep this at a high range in terms of profitability, I need to be driving tons of traffic here in order to make this sustainable in terms of income. Whereas I can make the same exact stuff. And then I add more to it as well, just for, to incentivize, people. But if I put that same stuff behind a membership to where people pay monthly for that membership, then in that case, instead of buying one thing or two things from the store that add up to like $17, they can become a monthly member to where they get every single month, they're getting new stuff, right? They're getting updates every single week going into the members area, which means that they're constantly, getting new stuff they can use in their videos and all that, which means that instead of having that store to where I have to just stay on the grind trying to get people over to the website, now I can send much less traffic, and I can get a decent amount of those people that are hitting the store to convert over into the membership side. And then on that membership side, that's now recurring revenue. So as long as we continue to put updates in there, then now, as long as I continue to put updates in there, people continue to stay subscribed to that. So because of that, one of the additional things that you can do is create something that has some type of, recurring revenue attached to it, or at least a one-off store. So the idea is when you do the recurring stuff, is you put yourself in a situation where everything becomes stable, because then maybe if you have, like your own things that are recurring, let's say you got, a few of those, and you have, different affiliate things that you're promoting that are recurring, then what happens is you create this stability with the amount of affiliate income that's coming in, so that over time you can pretty much count on, certain amounts, coming in every single month, versus if you're just going for one-off sales. If you're going for one-off sales, like, hey, I'm getting a sale here, I'm getting a sale here, I'm getting a sale here, and then it's done, like send it to Amazon, for example, then in that case, what happens is you live in, your income fluctuates based on how much traffic you can send. So because of that, the performance of your videos is going to be, or your income is going to be directly tied to the performance of each video that you publish and the awareness that you're bringing to those things. So there's some tips for that. In addition to that, other things that you can do is find great affiliate offers that have high sign-up bonuses. So with the high sign-up bonuses, that means that the person that would go and they would sign up for that service, when they come in to that service, they would actually get in at like the normal price for that service, or maybe even a discount, or maybe if it's even a free trial. But on your end, you actually get a higher amount. So for example, one of the places that I use, actually the only place that I use for captions personally, is called rev.com. I'm an affiliate for rev.com. And since I'm an affiliate for rev.com, any of you that go there through my affiliate link, which I think that I have down in the description, anybody that goes to rev.com and they sign up there and they make a purchase of $5, which means that if you have them caption a video that's over 5 minutes long, then they give me $100. So that's an example of a low entry for the people that you're sending there, but a high payout on the other side for you sending them. So in that particular case, Edwin, YPP stands for YouTube Partner Program. But basically what's happening there is when people go there, Rev has figured out the lifetime value or the long-term value of the people that are interacting there. So because of that, they can incentivize affiliates with those higher payouts initially, even though when somebody comes in for that first purchase, they're not purchasing a lot there. But Rev understands, through understanding their business model, they understand that they can make more long-term off of that particular person. So that's the idea, right? So when it comes to promoting things as an affiliate or creating your own stuff, just trying to find those types of things are definitely things that you want to make sure that you're keeping in mind. When it comes to YouTube, another thing that's beneficial as well. Oh, Jessica works at Rev. Oh, nice. Awesome. Love that. So another thing to also make sure that you're keeping in mind is that YouTube, the things that you talk about on YouTube are going to help determine your CPMs on YouTube as well. So for example, just to give the obvious one, if you're talking about money on YouTube, your CPMs are typically high. If you're talking about, like tutorials on using, Photoshop or something, then in that case, it might not be that fantastic. So, because of that, making sure that you are also making videos on topics that have a higher CPM so that you can also give yourself the advantage of not having to get as many views in order to be able to generate a much larger income from your YouTube channel as well. So, when you are trying to go full-time on YouTube, these are all things that are important to think about. A lot of people, self included, a lot of people don't think about these things until you're actually in the situation. And then you're like, oh, okay, now, I can kind of see what's going on a little bit better. But the idea is you want to think about these things if possible beforehand, so that you can make sure that you're making the right choices going into it if it's something that you want to do full time. So ultimately what you want to uncover is okay, this is the stuff that I love to talk about, that I love to make content about, but I also need to be able to monetize this. So because of that, let me find things that I love to make content about that it's also relatively easy to monetize, so that I can, continually make the content that's going to continually generate income. And I'm going to continue to monetize from the very first video that I publish. I'm going to have some type of method in place that I can go ahead and start making money. If it's driving people into an email list, if it's an affiliate offer, whatever, so that as my YouTube channel grows, my income grows along with it. And then by the time you get to, 50,000 subscribers, you're already banking. And then you get to 100,000 subscribers and you're like, oh yeah, I'm doing really great now. And then as you keep on going, it just keeps on getting better and better because you've had that in place for your entire archive, versus waiting until you get to 100,000 subscribers or 50,000 subscribers or 10,000 subscribers to start monetizing what it is that you're doing. Because the reason this particular thing is important is because you don't know when you're publishing a video if that is going to be the video that ends up taking off for you. And if it's that first video that takes off, that one video that you didn't monetize because you're like, I'll do it next time, or I'll do it when I get to 5,000 subscribers or 10,000 subscribers or whatever, that one video could potentially bring you thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars if you would have monetized it. If you would have found a way outside of YouTube ads to monetize that, that one video could have brought you a substantial amount of money. So because of that, it's really important to make sure that you keep those sorts of things in mind. All right, so now we're going to hop back into the forum here for a few more questions. We've got let's see. Dragon and Animal Crafts says that they upload every other day. They do arts and crafts content. The goal of the channel is to eventually get to 10,000 subscribers. But my first goal is 25 subscribers. Question. I have two questions. Does having music in the background boost audience retention? 2, is it best to go for low search volume and low competition? Oh, I think we answered this one already. Yeah, we answered this one already on the low search volume and low competition. Okay, so we'll move on to this next one, which is Dear Dana. Hey, Jessica, just as a heads up, let's see here. I don't know if Rev does any sponsor related things, but if there's a way that we could work together, I would love to open that conversation if possible as well, if you're still hanging out here in the chat. Let's see here. But Dear Dana says that they do psych, spiritual, commentary, and self-help content. The goal of the channel is to help others. The question says, hey, Nick, my analytics show 78% of my viewers return consistently, but my subscribers are slow to rise. They hide in the bushes. Please advise. That was we're like rhyming here. Hold on. My analytics show 78% of my viewers return consistently, but my subscribers are slow to rise. They hide in the bushes. Please advise. Nice. Okay. So let's see here. 70% of viewers return consistently, but subscribers are slow to rise. So as long as they're coming back, it's fine. Doesn't matter if it's immediately or if it's, after you a little bit of space after you publish the video, it's perfectly fine. As long as they're coming back, then you're doing the right things. Commander Replay says, I got 10,000 subscribers, but my channel's almost completely stopped growing, even though I do 3 gaming videos a week. Any thoughts on growing again? One is to go and look in your content library and figure out the content that's driving your channel. Make sure that the content that is driving your channel is matching the content that you are currently putting out. So for example, if the content that's driving your channel is content you made 2 years ago, and it's not really like exactly on topic with what it is that you're doing now, then in that case, you might want to either start making content like that again, or in some extreme cases, don't do this, but just something to consider that you might do in extreme cases. If the thing that's growing your channel is over here and it's on a different type of content, but you're going in this direction, then unlisting that, even though you'll take that hit in the view counts, can help you get in the right direction with the new direction or with the new content that you're putting out. But in terms of if it stopped growing, go in and figure out the content that people respond to in the past, try to make things that are topically similar. In addition to that, go in and make sure that that you're looking in your analytics to see the content that's bringing people in now. So even though it stopped growing, are you still getting views? Are you still getting views and those people just aren't converting? Or like what's going on for it not to be growing? So if you're getting views and they're not converting, then that will come down to the value that they're getting, or maybe you stopped or changed the way that you're doing your calls to actions. So for example, like with mine, even though my view counts are similar, my conversions are extremely low on my subscriber counts now that I don't do my intro in the beginning anymore, where I'm like, hey, if this is your first time here, you want to learn how to grow your channel, make videos and all types of other YouTube related stuff, start now by subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. I don't do this anymore. And because of that, I've taken a substantial hit, even though in the past, I would get like, 20,000 or 15,000 subscribers a month with a similar view count. Now, I'm down to like, 4,000 or, 5,000 or something like that just by taking that out. But I just don't want to waste your time. So that's why I don't do it anymore. But I might start doing it again just so I can get that number up. But anyway, the idea is to, look into all of those things. So look at, the where you're getting your traffic from now, and the videos that are bringing people in, make sure that you're making things that, sync up with their interests. And in addition to that, make sure that you dig in and that you also look at where you're getting traffic from before compared to where it is you're getting it from now. So for example, in your analytics, you can compare different date ranges and stuff. But one of the things that you might uncover is that you might have had some videos that were ranking in search that were bringing in, a lot of viewers for you. And then other people have made videos on the same topic and you've went down in the search results. Therefore, that particular video isn't performing well in search, and therefore it's impacting the channel as a whole. You might also find out that you had a handful of videos that were bringing in a lot of recommendation traffic from very specific suggested videos, high volume videos that you were able to siphon some traffic from. And, now other people have made videos, or just the life cycle is kind of, went through on that content. And because of that, you're not in those placements anymore. And because of that, the entire channel as a whole has taken a hit because those particular videos that were driving the channel are no longer driving the channel. Things like that are what you want to look into. Chris Stanley
Super Chat
says, I notice I get views in the evening, in the even time when I live stream my gameplay. Should I upload it this time or a different time? So what you want to do is YouTube shows you in your analytics, like when your viewers are online. So they show you like a chart, and it shows you like when the people that are interacting with your channel when they're online. So what you want to do is you want to publish like right as those people are coming online, so that as they come online, you can ride that, that wave through until that viewership starts to fade. Let's see. Next up, Doug's like, yeah, you missed a super chat. And then like I mentioned that like right there, like as you go. It's funny. Tom's ASMR says, what's the shortest video that you can post that will get monetized, or is it based on views only? So I know at one time it was, I think it was a minute. Now that they have the shorts, I'm not sure if that's impacted that in any way, shape, or form or not. But at one time, it was a minute long. Because of that, so I started a YouTube channel. It's a little fun story for you guys. So I started a YouTube channel called Free Stock Vids. Still there. But basically, when I started that content, the idea was that that we were going to publish videos there that YouTube content creators could download and use for free in their content without any worries of copyright or anything like that. But it was basically I was gonna build over time this big archive of just free content that you could use in your YouTube videos. So in order to monetize that, what I did is I have different versions. So there's a twofold thing here. One was to monetize it. Two was in order to make sure that I hit that limit and to make the content easier to use for people. Because, like in some cases, like if somebody wants to put a look, like a color grade on a particular piece of content, they might not necessarily know how to do it. So because of that, I would have like a clip. And then in that clip, I would do like several different versions. Maybe I would do like a fast version. Maybe I would do like a slow-mo version. Maybe I would do one with like color treatment and then one that's raw, so that I could make it easily accessible for them, but then I could also make it to where it would hit that 1 minute mark, so that as, the channel got monetized and stuff, I could start, getting some ad revenue from the people that would be hitting those videos as well. So, so that was the plan. And at that time, it was a minute in order for the content to be monetized. But unfortunately, YouTube ended up taking that channel down. What do they call it? I can't remember if they got me for duplicate. I think it was duplicate content or reused content. No, I think it was duplicate content because I was basically, doing the same clip, but just different colors for the length. And because of that, they flagged it. And I had to go through this lengthy process. Luckily, somebody at TubeBuddy, Andrew Can, you guys know, he had a friend that was at that point in time, he was, pretty high up in YouTube in terms of, being able to handle that sort of thing. So he was able to send an email, let him know some context in terms of like what was going on, and they got the channel turned back on, and and it's still there, but I just stopped uploading to it because I was like, yeah, if they're gonna hit the channel like that, then I'm not going to, I'm not gonna put in all that effort there to risk it getting taken down when it's already been taken down. So, Club Fillers Inc. says I live stream every day about Asia travel. Nice. I get good super chats and views, but what sponsorship should I look for, and what should be my next move? So in terms of sponsorships, I would definitely look into the travel world. I would look into like if you make content about a specific area, then in that particular case, because I know you said Asia, but I don't know if you target like specific areas in Asia, but I know like different tourism groups, at least pre-pandemic they were, but I know different tourism groups, they sometimes sponsor YouTube channels. Like for example, like an example here in Thailand would be the Tourism Authority of Thailand would be the people that would do that here. But every country has that part of their government that that handles the tourism stuff. But basically reaching out to them, seeing if they would be interested in it for the specific areas that you cover. But I know that there's also other complicated issues that go along with that in terms of in those specific countries, are you allowed to work and be making videos about their stuff, things like that. So I know there's complications there. But that's one thing. In addition to that, anything related to travel in terms of credit card companies, in terms of airlines, in terms of hotels, in terms of like booking.com, for example, or any of those places, Airbnb. Basically, I would just put together a list of everything that you can think of that you can possibly imagine related to travel. And when it comes to travel, I would think about the, gear that people use when they travel in terms of clothes and stuff. I would think about, baggage. I would think about, the actual, travel industry in terms of, airplanes and hotels and car rentals and all that stuff. And I would put together just a sweet media kit, and I would start sending that media kit out to all of those places with some ideas on, things that you might have for collaboration with them. But that would be the approach that I would take there. In addition to that, make sure that when you do any of your sponsorship deals, and this is a blanket thing for everybody here, make sure when you do sponsor deals that if possible, that if they're like, yeah, we'll sponsor a stream or we'll sponsor a video, then in that case, try to create a more, a better package for them. So what I mean is that, if they want one video, then it's this much. If they want, a couple of videos, then it's this much. If they want to do like a longer term contract over a certain period of time, then it brings the price down to, like this much per video. So then that way it keeps you off the hamster wheel of looking for sponsors, and you get to, the sponsor, they get to benefit because you are constantly hitting your audience, with information related to them. And then of course, as long as you're working with people that you genuinely support and that you're using their stuff anyway, then in that case, you're also, hooking your viewers up with stuff continually, and you're making sure that everybody knows about the things that you're also, trying to bring attention to as well. So, so those are some ideas for you. But I would definitely get a media kit together. Get a media kit together because, you need to make sure like some of the people that you're going to be reaching out to, like you are, for the outreach that you're going to be doing, you need to make sure that you are coming in at a professional level. Like I'm sure you're going to anyway, but I'm just wanting to make sure that you highlight that, because if you're reaching out to like credit card companies and, people like that, you want to make sure that you're bringing your A game when it comes to the professionalism that you approach them with, so that you can make sure that you can get some of those doors open. All right. So, on that note, I want to thank everybody for hanging out today. Hope that you learned something during the stream. I do want to let you know that if you are a new content creator and you are You heard a bunch of information during the stream today and you're thinking to yourself like, oh man, this is so much stuff. You don't have to do, all the stuff at one time, just pick a thing or two and, just focus on that thing, and trying to, better understand that thing over the next, over the next week or 2 weeks, so that you can, really just fine tune each thing that you're doing, over a period of time, because YouTube is it's a process, it's a process of learning. It's a process of application. It's a process of experimentation. It's a process of tracking, what stuff works, what stuff doesn't work. So, so because of that, just give yourself a break in terms of, not feeling that you have to do everything just like super quick. Just, embrace the process, try to learn what you can about, all the different things that you have to do in terms of editing thumbnails, things like that. And any of the stuff that we talked about today during the live stream, if you are overwhelmed by, some of the information, or if it's just like, oh, it's a lot of stuff, just, any of the notes, if you took any notes or anything like that, or if anything just resonated with you, just focus on that thing, for the next like week or so, until you can kind of internalize that information and understand it better, by applying it to your channel. And then, just keep building through that process, and you'll get there. So, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope that everybody has a awesome rest of your week. And really quick, I just want to thank Jay-Z Helps today. He's actually the top super chatter today. So thank you for that, my man. And I'm going to answer your question here in just a second before I'm done. But he's the top super chatter today in terms of, the amount of times he super chatted and the total amount. In addition to that, 1 second here. I also want to thank Albie-tastic. Again, crushing it on the chats by a substantial amount. So Albie-tastic is our top chatter today. In the future, I'm going to start putting like prizes and stuff to this. Like once this system that I'm using for this gets fine tuned, some of this stuff I'm going to start putting like prizes together for. But Albie-tastic, thank you for your support there. 177 chat messages from Albie-tastic. And Doug Houston was next with 111. Thank you, Doug. And then the next one, like so far down here, is 100 people away from Albie-tastic, which is Brad over at Magic Flying Potato. So, so thank you guys for, for being top chatters here, for participating in the stream, and enjoying, what's going on here and just participating actively. I super, super appreciate that. And one more fun stat here that I'll say is that today we had a 77% of people that are watching the stream today were just hanging out, like didn't interact at all. So I need to get better at having, making this a little bit more fun or something, so that you guys can, interact a little bit better as well. But again, thank you everybody for hanging out. I hope you learned something today. And really quick before I go as well, Roberto says he's talking about this in his brand deals workshop today. So Roberto has a workshop going on, and you can find out that information if you go to his Twitter. You'll be able to find that. But for all of you that are wanting to go full time, for everybody that is, trying to figure out how to make more money from this stuff, specifically working, with brands, he's going to be talking about that in detail today about, how to do all that stuff. But Jay-Z Help says, should the contact form that I link to my YouTube video description for lead consult be a Google form, or should it be a lead form on my website? It depends on your approach. If you do a lead form on your website, then that gives you the opportunity to also insert tracking pixels in terms of Facebook and Google, and you can retarget the people that hit your website. Whereas the people that are hitting your form, like you're just getting the form and you're getting their contact data there, but you can't really, advertise directly to them because they interacted with that form, at least not to my knowledge. You might be able to do it in some way, but to my knowledge, you can't do that directly through the Google Forms. But if you send them to your website and you have a form embedded there, then if you do decide to take that approach, because, in your case specifically, you're doing personal injury stuff, since you're doing personal injury content, and that's like what you do in terms of your, your business, then in that particular case, having something set up to where, they hit your website, and then over the course of the next, 48 hours or 72 hours, whatever, the typical line is there for people, having, I'm sure you have data for this, but, for people, having an accident or whatever, and then the amount of time it usually takes them to find somebody, running ads on that person for the next, 48 hours or 72 hours, however long that process takes, might be something to consider. If you do something like that, then that's where you would want to, send people to your website versus the Google form, so that you would have that opportunity to remarket to them. You can do some of that through, your YouTube videos as well. But for Facebook, being able to do that directly for those hitting your website is something to consider. Let's see. All right. So on that note, thank you everybody for hanging out. I hope that you have an awesome rest of your week, and I will see you next time.
Thanks for watching Nimin Live. Remember to check out our sponsors and other useful resources in the description below this stream. See you next week.
Finn, what's up, my man? Hope that you're doing fantastic. It's been a while. Hey, so really quick, I just want to let you guys know that Video Influencers is going live in 30 minutes. So I'm going to drop a link right here. They're going to be talking about going viral with YouTube Shorts. So I'm going to drop a link right here so you can set the reminder. I just dropped it in the chat here. So you can set the reminder if that's something that you're interested in. Charles, the water actually worked out great. Now I've switched over to Gatorade. I'm just get some electrolytes back. Probably not the best thing to do, but get some electrolytes back now. But yeah, the water versus the coffee actually did all right. Thanks for asking.
Thanks for watching Nimin Live. Remember to check out our sponsors and other useful resources in the description below this stream. See you next week.